It's been two really exceptional games, I think, in a row for the Florida Panthers, who are riding a wave of positivity and form, whereas the Maple Leafs have had a couple days here to try and find themselves and reverse the narrative because things are trending poorly, but they have one last chance here to prevent elimination, stick their foot or skate boot into the ice, and make sure that the narrative and the storyline and the actual conclusion to the story is different this time around.
All right, somebody that's got the pulse of Leafs Nation, both as a fan, a broadcaster, our post-game therapy session is Sam McKee. He joins us, producer of Real Kipper and Born and co-host of Leafs Talk. Sammy, how are we doing?
I'm good. Would you guys actually say I'm a broadcaster?
Yeah.
Oh,
of course.
Nice.
But do you not want to be?
Hold on a second. I got to take off my AirPods.
Okay.
Well, you just lost a point in terms of the broadcasting.
Broadcasters usually know how to connect properly.
Generally dialed in.
Okay, I'm back.
Are you back?
Can somebody hit the talk back? I'm hearing a little bit of an echo.
Oh. It's like no one's ever worked here before.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
You all good, Sam?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm all good. So,
okay.
yeah.
We're broadcasting.
So here's our famous broadcaster, Sam McKee.
I really appreciate you calling me a broadcaster. Yeah, I'm sitting in my little backyard area. I'm enjoying fantastic night, having an ice cold beer and talking to my two great friends.
Are you having the actual ice cold beer?
I am.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I love that one. Yeah, left field.
Brewery, the best.
It's one of the best beers in the city.
It's my fave.
I love
go-to. So yeah.
Okay, so the vibe check seems great. I'm feeling optimistic because there's no other way to just go about this broadcast without it. So where did you like come to settle after 48 hours of talking about this? Obviously, you're on Real Kipper and Born. You talk to your friends. You do Leafs Talk right after. Like, where are we at in terms of? Let's go with reasons for optimism because that's how I want to talk about it.
So I think the main reason for optimism is that regardless of result over the next 48 hours or next 4 hours, is that, there's two outcomes here. They win two games against what I think is probably the best team left, the Florida Panthers. People are saying, Dallas or Edmonton or whatever, but I think the Florida Panthers are the best team left. If you win two games against them, it's an incredible comeback. You're into the conference finals with a chance to go on to the Stanley Cup final. And if you lose, guess what? It's sweeping changes. It's a different thing. People who have wanted change forever and wanted to, see what this team looked like without Mitch Marner, without, maybe the president, without whatever, what the changes will be. There's two outcomes here. Like, I'm at peace. Whatever happens, happens. Whatever will be, will be. Like, it's just, they've come a long way here to the second round. This is the furthest they've ever been. And they haven't taught me that they've found anything new. Just maybe they find a way tonight, and if they don't, we don't really need to go on with the charade. So that's where I'm at. I'm at peace right now.
So how you lose is probably something that doesn't really apply here for the Maple Leafs, and I suppose certainly after Game 5 that doesn't apply because they've had that game. But if it's binary, right? It is binary. It's win or lose tonight, and I guess it's win or lose in this series. Is that really all that it comes down to? Like, consequences, win, gravy?
The thing is, there is a way. Like, I talked about this a little bit today with Kipper and Borny. Like, I mean, if they potentially imagine, like, let me draw out this scenario for you. Leafs play great tonight. Matthews has a couple. Marner has a couple primary assists. They look fantastic. They force Game 7. And then both of those guys look great again in Game 7, but they end up losing. Then we get to go on and like, but those games were pretty good. And it seems like they actually found something and they were different. Like, that's the only real scenario to me where it's like it changes anything. But I would predict that if they lose tonight or if they lose tomorrow night, like, it's not going to look very good for those guys. They need those guys to be good. If they have any chance of beating the Florida Panthers, like, God love the bottom half of this lineup, but the fatal flaw has always been there. I was going to say fellas, but
that's okay. I respond to fellas,
She does.
I'm one of the fellas.
Justin, I think regardless of result and how it looks, if they lose, sweeping changes are coming. Do you guys not agree?
Mm-hmm. We do, definitely. We're going to lay out some of the things that are on the line tonight. Lay it on the line. Shout out Rogers.
Laying it on the line.
Lay it on the line.
Doing that.
Lay it on the line. Thoughts on the lineup changes or lack of changes when Berube kind of announced a little bit of that today, and obviously they haven't come out for pregame skate or for pregame warm up yet, but we assume it'll be 16 and 34 together on that top line.
I think it's just a classic scenario of a coach just kind of going down with the ship here. No, I think there's a world where they go down a couple and start switching up lines and all this stuff, but I don't know if you saw what Berube said today. He, as always, he kept it pretty simple. He just said, listen, I tried it a few times throughout the year, didn't think it was good, didn't like it, so I didn't go back to it. It's like, ultimately, he's the coach, and if he doesn't like it, there's not a whole lot we can say, right? Like, I would love for them to go nuclear tonight and, have, I don't know, McMahon and Matthews and Domi playing together or something crazy. But when you are trying to win one of these two must-win games, you're going to go back to what you're comfortable with. You're going to go back to what has really served you well over the season. And he's going down with the ship, and I respect it. There may be some changes within the game. I understand or whatever, but I kind of understand why. I don't have to like it, but I understand why he's doing it.
Well, it would be shot in the dark stuff, right? Especially with those top guys. I'm looking at the total time on ice for these playoffs so far. Combined minutes or overlap minutes between Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, 211 all situations. Austin Matthews without Mitch Marner, 21 total minutes. That's like stuff between shifts, really. If you're being honest, I'm not a wizard, but that's 10 times, or at least close to that. So basically, they've been stapled to each other. And I think if we're doing the critical stuff for Greg Berube at the end of the season, which we will, and he'll be around because he's so fresh into his tenure here, it's the fact that they were tethered to each other at all times that you couldn't even look or even imagine doing something else because you literally have never seen it.
Do you think it's a mandate from Shanahan to play them together?
I honestly thought about that. Is it in the contract, in some fine print that no one ever read?
It's just because it's been two straight coaches that have just been
someone's demanding it. You're right. Someone's demanding it. I don't know who, but someone has made it clear that it's going to be this way. And
211 minutes together.
Yeah.
That number's stunning. I look at the Oilers, and I've been watching the Oilers a ton, and they're so incredible, playing so incredibly well. And one of the best players in the world, in Leon Draisaitl, they just throw him over the boards with Podkolzin and Kapanen. It's can they try that? And maybe try to have a little bit deeper of a lineup so that you have a chance against that Panthers third line that's been so good. I don't know why they don't try it. I don't know if it's a mandate. I don't know if it's Marner or Matthews demanding it. I'm honestly not going to put it past either of those guys. So it's really weird, but it just feels like Berube is going down with the ship. He likes it, and he's just going to do it. And feels like a hard guy to convince otherwise.
Yeah, we're talking to Sam McKee ahead of Leafs Panthers, do or die for the Maple Leafs tonight, and we'll get you set for it around 8 o'clock. Just a reminder, it will be on 680 News Radio Toronto. We will make sure to remind you one last time before we take a break. Let's talk about that Florida Panthers team because we had Cece on at 6 o'clock, and obviously he's followed this team, but you probably right up there with as close as many games if you've watched of this series, of course, and the last couple series against Panthers. Do you think they're a better team than they were last year when they won the Stanley Cup? Should we be giving a little credit to these Panthers team for just panthering and the Leafs not being able to win, or is this on the Leafs?
I think it's a fair question, Alish. They are very good, and they are allowed to play too. They get to play too. They have really good players. They have gritty playoff performing players, but it can't look like it looked in Game 4 and Game 5 to me. That's the thing. The Leafs are good too. The Leafs won the Atlantic. The Leafs have been a really good regular season team for a long time. You have to at least put up a fight, or at least seem like you're up for it. I think the Panthers have been good in this series. I think the Leafs have they've started to look like years past where they stopped getting to the middle of the ice a lot. And, Bobrovsky's looked really good because the high danger chances seem to dry up outside of the Willie breakaways. That's pretty much Willie gets a breakaway, Knies gets a breakaway. And that feels like their only high danger chances they've had over the past few games. But yeah, you got to give the Panthers credit. They're really good. And this was always going to be a tall task. The Leafs were huge underdogs going into this series. They're huge underdogs tonight. But there's no way that any Leaf fan looks at it like that. You have star power on your team that should be able to compete with these guys. And listen, I respect Marchand so much. I don't know if you guys heard what he said today, just bigging up the Leafs. It wasn't that big of a deal. He's so good at this stuff, and they have gritty warrior type guys that know how to win these games. They know how to work the media. They're a really tough team, but they got to put up a fight. Tonight is a night where, Game 5 will be, if they lose tonight, Game 5 will be the legacy. And I don't know how, if you're a guy on this team, that you can want that. So Panthers are good. Leafs are good too. They should put up a fight tonight, at least. That would be where I land on the Panthers.
Yeah, the Panthers are they're clearly unbelievably talented. They're reigning Stanley Cup champions, but they're also built for exactly this. And Marchand only adds to that. It fuels that, makes it even more extreme than it already is. And where I've landed on it is that the Leafs are losing this series because the Panthers are a brilliant team, but they lost the last 2 games, and more specifically the last game, in that fashion because they don't have the same makeup that the Panthers do, that same mental toughness, that same ability to dig in and to push through adversity, but also when you get punched in the face like they did through the first 2 games, they were able to pick up themselves and deliver a response. And we'll see if the Maple Leafs are any closer to doing that, but we knew the Panthers were going to be able to accomplish that.
That's exactly what's so frustrating is that I kind of, as the kids say, I kind of had a crash out yesterday on Real Kipper and Born. And that's the part to me that is just so frustrating. It's I never accuse a professional athlete of not caring, but you know what I will accuse them of? Not caring as much as the Panthers. It's just that first period will always haunt me to the depths of my core. I've just never seen such a comprehensive outworking, just willing. And it's you see that top line and the chances against and everything in that first period. It's I think that Matthews and Marner care, but do they care as much as Matthew Tkachuk and Sam Bennett and Marchand? That's the question for me, and I guess we'll kind of see tonight. Tonight will be telling.
I feel I know the answer on the Marner front. If you are floating out, hey, this might be the end, right? Every insider
we're on quit watch tonight.
Yeah, they're all talking about it, right? That he probably wants to do something else. That means one foot's out the door, which means in the most difficult situation you could be in from a sporting perspective, which is a high intensity Stanley Cup playoff game, you're not going to find it within yourself to dig in, are you?
No, that's what scares me the most about tonight is that I think it's a close win or a bad loss. Those are the 2 outcomes for me where I could see them, last stand coming out in the first period, being really good. Bobrovsky stands on his head. Panthers get one early second period, and then it's just a fold-up shop situation. Or they get a couple early, they protect the lead like they've been good at all year, and they win the game. But there's 2 extremely high-profile pending free agents on this team, guys. There's no way around it. John Tavares, pending free agent, been the captain of this team, been high-profile signing, huge thing. Mitch Marner, very high-profile, could have been traded for Mikko Rantanen, which is so insane to look back on. There are such huge off-the-ice implications with one single hockey game, and they've never really had the mental fortitude to push through in these situations when those things weren't looming over it. So that does worry me a bit, if I'm being totally honest. I don't want to be too negative on the Leafs pregame here, but there are some narratives heading in tonight that give me the spooks. Let's just say that.
What's Allie like when you're watching? She sit there with you?
She's in Montreal tonight.
Oh, so maybe the vibes will be different.
It's so funny though. I am a lunatic, and she's I actually don't recognize you. In the Ottawa series in Game 6 when they went up late, right, and Pacioretty scores that winning goal with 4 minutes left in the game. It's in the this final minute, and Willie Nylander rolls that puck down, and it looks like it's going to go in, and they ice it, and it doesn't go in. I popped up off the couch. Oh, that's the moment they're going to lose. Oh my god! And she's just what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
That's good.
I don't know. Passion. I got a passionitis.
Well, she won't have to witness whatever happens tonight, but she'll be alone. I'm actually worried. If things go bad, Sam, you can call us.
Yeah, I'll be okay. Yeah. Honestly, like I said off the top, there's 2 outcomes. Either they come back or there's change. So we'll see. I'm at peace.
All right, Sam. We'll look forward to listening to Leafs Talk after the game tonight with you, Bourne, and our boy JD. So hope it's a positive one, or at least one that, entertains and gets viewers. So either way.
I hope it's not too muddy tonight. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks so much for coming on, Sam.
My pleasure, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Sam McKee, producer of Real Kipper and Born and host of Leafs Talk, which you'll hear later on this evening. As a reminder, puck drops just on the other side of 8 o'clock. So we've got a little bit more time to tee it up, talk about what's on the line tonight.
So we know the series has turned, right? But it's turned maybe more drastically than people realize. Since the Maple Leafs took a 3-1 lead in Game 3. Again, they lost in overtime. Brad Marchand, game winner. But they were up 3-1. They were in complete control of the series at that point. They've been outscored 12-2. So that would be 2.5 games. Mm-hmm. 2.5 games, outscored 12-2. And now in the position where they need to win tonight to move on. They have had, oddly, some success when facing elimination, but not actually coming back to eliminate their opponent. Mm-hmm. They are 6-8 when facing elimination since 2016-17, so this era. But of course, they are 0-8 in playoff series in which they faced elimination. So they've been able to win these do or die Game 6s. It's what do you do in Game 7? Now, I think Leaf fans would just take a Game 6 victory tonight, just keep it in focus. You can only win this game, and they actually get to go home, which is a change in some ways. If they get to play a Game 7, they will do so.
How many of those Game
ice.
7s have been on home ice? I'm trying to remember.
I think exclusively they were in Boston, right?
Yeah.
Actually, no, because last year. It was in Boston last year. I think in Boston, it's always been in Boston.
Because they never finished higher than Boston.
And they lost, I guess they were on home ice during the bubble against Columbus.
Oh, boy.
I mean, that was a big difference going into this year.
That could be different.
They earned themselves a position where they could get through their first round opponent because they were better than them, that they would have home ice throughout the Atlantic Division portion of the bracket. These are luxuries afforded to you because you accomplished something. Now you got to make sure that it actually means something and is not lost in vain. And I guess it can be tonight with a Game 6 loss in Florida.
All right. So what are some of the reasons, and we know we asked Sam about this, that you feel like this team has the mental fortitude, the wherewithal to take this one game at a time, to not think about the massive stakes looming in the distance, the consequences that we can go through of, 16's future, Shanahan's future, the core four. Like, how do you close all that out and focus on just tonight?
If I knew the answer to that, I should probably be employed by the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay.
It's really difficult, right? Like, and I'm not saying that rudely. It's just it's tough. It's tough to find reasons to believe things will be different from a very basic, hey, are Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner going to be able to do what they need to do? Because they haven't to this point. We all understand the numbers. We all understand how it's dried up. We all understand that as prolific as he is, normally 69 goals, regular season, other than this one, Austin Matthews can't really score in the playoffs. I think 3 goals in his last 21 playoff games. Those things are mysteries that are unexplained, right? Dateline NBC, unexplained mystery, unsolved mystery. That's
missing in
exactly
action.
what it is. There's no way to really sugarcoat it. But we know this team is different in some ways. We know they have the best blue line they've ever brought to the dance. And I think there is still the opportunity to win a game without your best players really factoring in.
We've seen it with the Oilers.
We've seen it with the Oilers. We've seen Joseph Wall against the Florida Panthers in big games play quite well. If they can put it together from a defensive standpoint and bang one in, get one off the butt, whatever, they have an opportunity to still win a game without Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner factoring in. What an early goal for Austin Matthews would do for the group, I think it would be immense, but I don't know if you can count on it. So if I'm trying to feel better or trying to rationalize how it could be different, it's that this year you can win in different ways. I think in previous years, they could play perfect defensively and make it a really tough game to score, but in the end, it wasn't good enough. I think they're better in that department this year, and that they can actually win a game with depth. It's just going to be really difficult to do against a Florida team that doesn't even have depth. They just have strength.
Okay, for fun, as we have a few minutes left, what is on the line tonight in terms of, let's say, worst case scenario? Let's just get it out of the way, because on the other side of the break, we're going to be positive. Worst case scenario, Leafs lose tonight, or they lose in Game 7, and this is the end of whatever this era is. What do you think are the pillars of change that you will see?
Oof. Okay, this is going to be tough to do. Well, if we were led to believe Mitch Marner won't be coming back, I don't think you could just hands and knees begging him to come back. That doesn't make sense.
I think that's solidified.
The trapdoor is there. I think
if they don't win this series, I think that you can almost what, like, I don't want to put percentages, but like, odds are that he won't be a Maple Leaf.
I'd be pretty comprehensive with my changes.
Okay.
I think there's a natural pivot point. We've talked about it before. Like, you don't have to give John Tavares a deal. You don't have to give Mitch Marner a deal.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to. Well, you do have to honor Morgan Riley's no trade, but you could ask him if there's anything else he'd like to do. Like, I think you have to explore ways to significantly change the DNA, and those are 3 options. I'm pretty happy with everything else.
Yeah, I'm definitely think that it's the Marner question. I think you've answered it. We can't do it again. I'm happy with Craig Berube. I don't think there's a coaching change happening.
No, but I think he's got to learn from this situation as well.
Okay, but yeah,
but he's sticking around. Yeah.
I think that the defense looks great. Like, I really think they did. Like, I think they did a great job on the back end this year. I don't know if there's anyone that I'm like, you're not coming back. I'm happy with that. Goaltending duo was really good this year. I don't know what other free agent goaltender is out there that.
Goaltending solidified.
So I think Max Domi maybe played himself out of this city a little bit.
There are avenues to change, for sure. Like, there's 2 built in with Tavares and Marner. You could, I don't know, use this situation to be like, you know what, John, a couple $1 million less, you're going to play the wing, but like, are you changing anything if you do that stuff? I don't really know. I do think the Morgan Riley thing is interesting because despite the strength of the blue line, despite him having a really good playoff, he's still not the guy you could put out there on the power play, and therefore he's like missing a key element of the mobile, puck-moving offensive defenseman. Like, he can't play in the most offensive scenario. I think that's a bit of a problem. Again, I think you could make do with him. I think a couple other changes can ensure that he's a someone who's going to actually lead towards positive results for this team, because I think he's doing it right now. It could just be one change, honestly.
Well, I think locking up Matthew Nyes seems like a first step, I think, in terms of like tidying your own business up.
Here's what it is. It's the change of the core.
Yeah.
So
Matthew Nyes goes in, Mitch Marner goes out.
You want to pick 4? It's Matthews, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Hurt.
Me too.
But you got to start
Nylander.
Scoring next year because you've been hurt 2 years in a row.
Yeah, that's true.
Matthews, Nylander.
Nice.
Matthew Nyes. Do you need a core 4 or are we going to core 3?
I like 4. It's easier to say. So add a new one. Sam Bennett.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got $22 million opened up between Mitch Marner and John Tavares, then go get yourself a 4th member of that and change the way this team is orchestrated, is designed, is optimized.
I think that sounds great. But you know what? They could win tonight and win on Sunday, and we'll talk about that another time. Let's do the lines quickly before we take a break. I don't know if you have them yet, but we were anticipating a little bit of a switch back to what we had seen previously in the series. Obviously, Game 5, they put Nick Robertson in. He scores. Oh, poor guy. Didn't do enough to stay in the lineup.
Yeah, thanks for filibustering for me as I found the lines. But the top line will be Matthew Nyes, Austin Matthews, and Mitch Marner. Of course, they are together forever. Pontus Holmberg moves back up, playing with John Tavares and William Nylander. We know Berube trusts and likes Holmberg, despite the change in the series before. Bobby McMahon will stick around. Max Domi will stick around. They'll play with Max Pacioretty on the 3rd line. It'll be Lorentz, Lawton, and Yarncroke coming back in. So Robertson, as you mentioned, not in the lineup tonight, along with David Camp. It'll be Riley Carlo, McCabe Tanev, Simone Benoit, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. The blue line remains unchanged, and as it should be. Joseph Woll gets the start. It's a big start for Joseph Woll, who needs to be better.
Here at Honda, they built the CRV Sport just like you'd build a team for the playoffs. Reliable performance? It's a Honda. Versatility? You've got all-wheel drive. High IQ plays? That's Honda sensing technology. Resilience and grit? You bet. After all, it's Canadian. Make your playoff drive count. Bring home the Ontario-built CRV Sport. Lease today with rates from 0.9.
What's up, Leafs fans? All right, guys and girls, we've got to get behind our Maple Leafs and we've got to cheer real loud tonight in the chat because our Maple Leafs are in trouble. We are facing elimination and we have got to get the W tonight down in Florida to send this series back to Toronto for game number 7. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. Who are you cheering on. This is a huge test for our core four. If they don't get the win tonight and this season ends, big questions will be asked of every single member of the Toronto Maple Leafs from top to bottom. Thank you for being here. Please hit the like button. Please share this link out to your friends. And let's have a good time in the chat. Keeping it classy. Go Leafs, go! Let's go, buds. We're getting it done tonight. We're getting the win. Let's go, Maple Leafs!
Pre-owned golf club holder, stadium parking navigator, a basketball team transporter, a remote cottage finder, a beaver spotter, a coach hauler, bear country guide, a family road trip carrier, a muddy road controller, extreme wind stabilizer, plus a... And we're out of time. Subaru is the multi-tool that masters every unpredictable weather condition. Visit your local Subaru dealer for great lease and finance.
From backstage to the main stage, the Bills will make you dance. The Welcome to Rockville Music Festival comes to you
direct from Daytona.
Go. With an exclusive limited engagement channel.
Welcome to Rockville. Rockville Radio.
Listen now in the SiriusXM app.
Welcome to Rockville is madness.
Including live festival coverage now throughout the weekend on Octane, Channel 37.
So thankful for SiriusXM hooking everybody up.
Thanks, Octane.
NHL Morning Skate.
Frederick Anderson, number one goaltender with the Canes. Congratulations on the contract extensions.
Yeah, good organization that have high standards, and I want to push for that championship every year. And we haven't gotten to the ultimate goal, but we've been knocking on the door, and that's the perfect situation. Being on a team that's got those aspirations.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Coulias.
It's a pleasure to have back on the program Coach Joel Quenneville, back behind an NHL bench next fall.
And I couldn't be more excited about the opportunity to be in Anaheim. Working with Beaker over the last couple of weeks, we're having a lot of fun. The personnel and the young kids, it kind of represents and reminds me of what we had in Chicago when I first went there. And we got a really young team that's going to be exciting to work with for sure.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
No one brings you the passion of the beautiful game quite like SiriusXM FC.
Would you believe this?
Whether it's live matches from the EPL, MLS, the NWSL, or the UEFA Champions League.
This is sensational!
Or live talk shows featuring the sport's most entertaining experts.
You don't get to say, I don't feel like making that play right now. You make the play.
It's the world of soccer at your fingertips.
How mouth-watering is that?
SiriusXM FC, channel 157 in the car, and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots and scores!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM. Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it, there's a chance, rebound, Caulfield, shoots and scores!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM. The world's most thrilling league is now in the palm of your hand. Hear every English Premier League match all season long on the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favorite team. The best hockey lives here.
Martins gets it back, stick handles for the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
For more information, visit dewalt.ca.
This is Molson Leafs Hockey.
About to bring the war right now. Sound the alarm.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network. There's a Molson with your name on it.
Welcome to Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio Toronto and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Eilish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert. We spent 2 hours teeing this game up, and we're getting you set for puck drop as the Maple Leafs face elimination in Game 6 in Florida. We talked in a lot of depth about how brutal Game 5 was. So we are going to spin it forward into a positive for the next 5 minutes and 30 seconds about how this team can rebound, can find a little heart, a little soul. What is their thing in their jersey? Honor, pride, and Passion.
Gotta be passion.
Man, they got to find all three of those things
Leafs
tonight.
ad-libs have to include passion, doesn't
Show
it?
a little passion tonight, fellas.
This series has turned once, right? The Leafs have been outscored 12-2 now, dating back to the first period of Game 3. It can turn again, and they'll need it to turn again. Maybe it rides two very separate and distinct waves with the Maple Leafs having the better of the latter phase of this series. They've been in this position many times before, facing elimination, and they've actually won some games when facing elimination. It's just they haven't parlayed that into eliminating the team that they staved off elimination against. So the first part of that, staving off elimination, starts tonight in Sunrise.
Whew. Feel like that was your key to victory.
Oh, it was not.
I'm going to give that to you now. The Key to Victory is brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Get home ice advantage on every drive with the new Civic Hybrid, proudly built here in Ontario. Visit your Ontario Honda dealers today.
Joseph Woll's got to be sharp early. It was a regrettable performance in Game 5. There was some dejection on the bench, certainly after giving up a truly horrific goal. But we're being positive. And Joseph Woll is going to have to face some rubber early, and he's going to have to stand up in the face of it, because if the Maple Leafs are playing this confidence game, if they are, at all vulnerable early because they don't know if they can compete with this Florida Panthers team right now, well, Joseph Woll can make them feel better about themselves if he can handle the early barrage. So Joseph Woll rebounding himself and putting the Leafs in a position to win would be my key to victory tonight. Let's go to the player to watch, presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca.
I wonder who I should select tonight. If we're going down with the ship, I am going to...
Positivity here.
No, yeah, you're right. If this ship is going to rise from the ashes of death and find a way to go to Game 7...
Do we need the death part of there?
I'm on the heels, or it's on the heels of Matthews and Marner. So I'm giving you two players to watch, and they were both tied for the worst players in Game 5. So Matthews is plus 170 for an anytime goal. Famously has not scored against Florida Panthers ever in his playoff career.
That's not a good sign, but you got to get the shine eventually.
Yes, and Mitch Marner, plus 325 for an anytime goal. A lot of replay of that backhand pass through the ice, and a lot of discussion about, was that his last game ever at Scotiabank Arena? Let's turn that around, and let's see both of these guys get on the scoreboard. I would love to just do like a core 4 parlay, but I'm just going to keep it easy. Matthews and Marner.
Quickly to rehash, I know we're being positive, but to rehash a stat we were talking about earlier, and one that is pretty telling of the situation here for Austin Matthews, who could get off the schneid tonight. Of the 110 players, this from Sportsnet Stats, in NHL history with 400 career regular season goals, Austin Matthews is the only one with 0 career goals past the opening round of the postseason. That goose egg is lifted tonight with your player to watch.
Okay.
Would you like the Panthers lines?
I would like to know who is playing for that team.
Jesper Boquist will play with Barkov and Reinhardt again in the absence of Evan Rodriguez. Second line will have Carter Verhaeghe, Sam Bennett, and Matthew Tkachuk. It'll be Luosterainen, Lundell, and Marchand on that pesky third line with AJ Greer, Thomas Nosek, and Jonah Gadjevich on the fourth line. They have stuck around since being inserted into the lineup. On the back end, Forsling and Ekblad, Mikkola and Jones, Schmidt and Kulikov. Of course, Sergei Bobrovsky will oppose Joseph Woll tonight in the critical Game 6.
I think the first 5 to 10 minutes before the big first intermission will really show a lot about this team. Like, you got to weather the storm. You've got to maybe the crowd is taunting. Maybe Bobrovsky's sitting on his head. But if the Leafs can just put their head down and do good work, hard shifts, good changes, like this first 5 to 10 minutes is going to show a lot about the heart of this team. And I really hope it shows positively. It shows that they want to forget what happened on Game 5 and be a completely different team, because they can be.
It is unlikely that the Maple Leafs can win this game in the first 5 minutes, but it feels possible that they could lose it within the first 5 minutes. So if it looks a lot different than Game 5, then that's a start here in Game 6.
All right, we're in for a treat and a memorable night either way. Hopefully it's not our last broadcast.
Pretty pivotal night.
Let's go. Let's pivot in the puck drop with Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph, which will be next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio.
The drama builds.
Baseball's in full swing.
This ball's gone!
Hear
every MLB game on SiriusXM.
And they'll be talking about this one for a long, long time.
Listen to your favorite team all season long with your hometown announcers on the SiriusXM app.
A breathtaking home run by Aaron Judge.
For a complete MLB schedule, go to SiriusXM.com/sports.
What a night.
NHL Morning Skate.
Frederick Anderson, #1 goaltender with the Canes. Congrats.
Hey, sports fans! Thank you for hanging out with us and chatting it up. We're thrilled to bring you the Playoff Pulse. Catch every single NHL and NBA playoff game right here while supporting an incredible cause, SickKids Hospital. Together, we can make a difference with every single view.
Holy Mackinac! Joe Bowen here, the voice of your Toronto Maple Leafs. Every moment you watch on Toronto Sports Insider helps SickKids Hospital. 100% of Leafs playoff stream revenue goes straight to their life-saving care, helping kids in our community and beyond. This is what Playoff Pulse is all about, bringing playoff excitement and making a lasting impact for those who need it most. So let's rally together and show sick kids we're in their corner.
Hey everyone, Easton Cowan here. Let's amplify our impact. Every like, share, and subscribe boost our donations to Sick Kids. Watch the games, get hyped, and spread the word to grow our Playoff Pulse community. Join us now.
Stop it! Under Review with Mick Kern. 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
No one brings you the passion of the beautiful game quite like SiriusXM FC.
Would you believe this?
Whether it's live matches from the EPL, MLS, the NWSL, or the UEFA Champions League.
This is sensational!
Or live talk shows featuring the sport's most entertaining experts.
You don't get to say, I don't feel like making that play right now. You make the play.
It's the world of soccer at your fingertips.
How mouth-watering is that?
SiriusXM FC, channel 157 in the car, and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio puts you on the ice.
If you're trying to describe what playoff hockey is,
well, the ebbs and the flows, the momentum changes, the willingness to sacrifice whatever it takes, whether it's blocking a shot with your face. Every opportunity matters. You know, we learn an awful lot about ourselves in the playoffs and how you rise to the challenge and are willing to do whatever it takes for the team to be successful.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91. Nothing puts you closer to the action than SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
Big news out of Vancouver. Adam Foote is the new head coach of the Vancouver Canucks.
Adam Foote's never been a head coach. And I look at the Vancouver Canucks. If they make that move, it's because they feel this is more about development. This is more about, building for the future. It's not so much about next year. Adam Foote's going to have some growing pain next year.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91. The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
It is do or die for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It is all on the line. They've had their noses rubbed in it. In Game 5, they must win Game 6 to send the series back to Toronto for a Game 7. And the heroes of the Hemp Hut brought to you by Molson. Molson, everyone in. Joseph Woll again in goal for Toronto. Anthony Stolarz has not made the trip. He has not recovered sufficiently from what is apparently a concussion. Woll is 2-3 with a 4.02 goals against average. Sergei Bobrovsky in the postseason, 7-3, 2.46 and an 8.99 save percentage. But the Leafs have got to be better, not just the core four. They've got to be better from top to bottom in this lineup because the lesser lights of the Florida Panthers are decidedly outpointing and outproducing the third and fourth lines of the Leafs.
Oh, absolutely. However, you wouldn't mind a Mikko Rantanen type game from Austin Matthews or Mitch Marner in this one with their season on the line.
There have been a lot of other games that have been blowouts that have produced sweeping changes. After sweeping Edmonton in the previous year's final, the Islanders had a blowout. They lost 6-1 in Game 2. But the Oilers prevailed at 5-2 to hoist the first of 5 Stanley Cups. Detroit blew out game with Pittsburgh 5-0. The Penguins, and then the Wings were on the brink of a second straight cup over the Penguins. The Penguins tightened up and ended up winning the series in 7. These games happen. You don't know why. You wish they hadn't. You just have to throw it out the door and let it go. We're ready for the opening faceoff, and the puck is dropped. And it is cleared quickly in on Joseph Woll in the Toronto zone. Played off to Chris Tanev, who launches it high into the center ice zone. Batted back to neutral ice to the Leaf blue line. Marchand trying to get a shot away, had it partially blocked. McCabe getting it around back of the net for Tanev. Up on the wings for Matthews, back to Tanev. Cross ice now to defense partner McCabe, and the Leafs will get it to the blue line, but not in deep. Florida having to change, and the Leafs are doing likewise. Brought to center ice by Mikkola. Sent back down into the Toronto zone. Chopped at there by Tavares. Grabbed off by Pontus Holmberg. Fed around the boards to the near side for the defense and cleared out at center and off a body and down into the zone. But it's going to be an icing call. That was a tight spot. I thought that was off a body in the center ice area, but to no avail. It'll be an icing call here against Toronto.
We saw with Sam Bennett scoring off the draw in Toronto in the previous game, how important faceoffs can be.
So the faceoff coming back into the Toronto end. And the draw won by Florida back to the point. A shot deflects in front of the goal. Blocker to the near side. Pontus Holmberg skates it down the near boards. Gets to the line and in. Got a shot away that was easily kicked into the corner there by Bobrovsky. Leafs get it back at the net with Nylander sending it around to the near point. But it's pushed out at center ice. And down into the Toronto zone it goes. And Tavares hustling back to reverse the puck to Morgan Rielly. Up on the wing it's played by Carlo. Down into Florida territory. But Pacioretty couldn't get to it. Panthers bringing it right back on the left wing side for Verhaeghe. He gets it into the Toronto zone on the far side. Trying to dig it free is Sam Bennett. Bennett got it along the boards. Tkachuk couldn't get it out of the skates. And then Domi steps into Tkachuk, but the puck goes free to Bennett. Bennett dropping it back to the blue line. Kulikov sends it down and around back of the Toronto goal for Bennett. Bennett reverses the puck again. A centering pass comes into the goal crease area, but the Leafs are going to launch that quickly out at center ice. Nicely underway. Approaching 2 minutes played, first period of Game 6. Do or die for the Maple Leafs. In along the boards, Tanev getting it ahead on the near wing, backhanded to center ice and down into Florida territory. Quickly cleared back at center, and it's grabbed off there by Yarncrook, who will regroup the puck. Leafs fourth line out now with Tanev, launching it high into Florida territory. Yarncrook gets a bit of a hit in along the boards, but the Panthers get it out, and it's bouncing into the center ice area, where it's picked off by Scotty Lawton. Lawton dropping it back for McCabe, gets a return pass, had it knocked off his stick. It'll go back to McCabe. McCabe trying to work a way around back of the net, falls, got it back again from Lawton. The pass comes up the middle, and Nyes starts away at center. Nyes playing it off a skate and in over the line. Marner couldn't reach it. Neither could Matthews as the puck comes back the other way. In across the line for Marchand, but he has it taken away by Nyes, and Nyes skates away from Marchand's forechecking to find the Leaf defense, and Rielly will play it out into the center ice area and down into Florida territory. Bobrovsky leaving it back to the net. Quickly played up the boards, and out they come again. Brought to center ice now by Forsling. He got it in on the left wing for Lundell. Lundell sweeping it around to the far corner. Trying to come out with it now was Luosterainen. He gets it back to the point. Long shot in traffic. Blocked the rebound in front. Knocked away, and Marner starts away for Toronto. Got it ahead on the wing for Nyes, or at least for Pontus Holmberg. And it is shot down into the Florida zone. Reinhart dropping it back. Forsling starting out with it. He works to the left wing side to center. Shot it in, but there's an arm up from a linesman. Not sure if this is icing or offside, but we'll wait and see. Johnny Murray and James Tobias are the linesmen. Garrett Rank and Jean Hebert are the referees.
Something that we're really going to have to look at as this goes on. This is an amazing stat, but Paul Maurice in the playoffs with the Florida Panthers is 26-0 when leading after any period. I mean, that's an amazing. You talk about being able to protect the leads.
Yep. Leafs chop it down to the blue line, but don't get it in deep and don't get a forecheck started as it's played by Mikkola into the center ice area. Bouncing puck played to the right wing side, backhanded into the Leaf zone by Boquist. Oliver Ekman-Larsson getting it up on the wing, and the Leafs start out with it. A long lead pass off of Nylander's stick goes deep into Florida territory, but the Leafs aren't going to get much pressure here as they are in the midst of a change. Played out into the center ice area. That's going to cause an icing, I believe. No, waved off. Not sure why. Didn't look like anybody touched it. Leafs get it through center on the left wing. Domi sending it in. Leafs scratches again are Robertson, and a shot taken there as well. Yarncrook back into the lineup, and Pontus Holmberg back into the lineup as well. Panthers across the line. Tkachuk into the slot area, and a shot is swallowed up there by Wall out at the top of the crease to take it away from Sam Bennett. And a face-off coming in the Toronto zone. 15:27 to go here in period number 1. Single shot apiece thus far.
And it's Sam Bennett, the first shot on goal for the Florida Panthers. Pontus Holmberg on a very dangerous shot that the Leafs were able to get on goal off the rush, high from the slot that Sergei Bobrovsky took in the midsection. That's like Joseph Wall does here. One of the things we've noticed, Joe, the last couple of games is the Leafs have had a lot of trouble with the Florida forecheck and have had very little success with their own.
Played down into the Toronto zone, around the boards, back of the net. Carlo got it freed up for Riley. Leafs start up at center with a pass that went off Pontus Holmberg, sticking down into Florida territory. He gets down there to get in on Forsling, but the puck is pushed ahead and now stolen back by the Maple Leafs. Fired in around back of the net. Lawton back of the goal trying to pry it free, but it's knocked up on the left wing boards for A.J. Greer, and the Panthers get clear of it, and this is going to turn into another icing, and it's coming back into the Florida zone. I think our audio is just a tad off the video that we're watching, isn't it? So we apologize for that. Face-off coming in the Florida zone. 14:52 to play here in period number 1. Linesman getting them ready for the face-off. And the puck is dropped. It comes back to the point, and a shot went off a leg and went wide. It comes back into the corner for Matthews. Matthews had his stick being held, but no call. Marner against the boards is pinned there by Ekblad, and it's cleared but not out. Kept in by Matthews, who took a shot and it was blocked. And now we get a whistle.
Penalty coming up.
A.J. Greer is down. Did he take a high stick?
Penalty, number 2 minutes, interference.
An interference call to Benoit.
And that's inside the Florida zone, so the Leafs, it was disastrous. In game number 4, taking 4 straight penalties, and here, I mean, you got to call this.
Well, Benoit thought the puck was going to reach Greer, and if it hadn't been intercepted, it would have, and the play would have probably been okay, right?
Yeah.
But turns into an interference call.
Take those penalties in the offensive zone are horrid.
Draw to the right is won by Florida. Back to the point to Jones. Jones to the side of the net. Verhaeghe gets it again in the near corner. Back of the net, it goes around the boards from Reinhart. To the far side, trying to cut in, goes down back to Reinhart. Reinhart into the slot for Jones. Doesn't shoot it. Jones off on the right wing side. Barkov with a shot that's blocked, and it is covered up by Wall on the doorstep with a faceoff coming with 1:38 to go in the power play for Florida. In this series, they are 4 of 18, and on the playoff year, they're 8 of 34 with the man advantage. Draw one again by Florida. Puck back to the point. Fed to the far side. It comes back to the point to Jones. A shot blocked in front of the net. Leafs don't get it out and had a chance to clear. Kept alive on the far side for Verhaeghe. Down around back of the net, Barkov had it knocked away by Tanev. Tanev gets it freed up. It comes back, though, to the far side. And a wrist shot taken. Wall kicked that into the corner. McCabe chipping it to the line, but not out. Kept alive by Florida to the near side. Verhaeghe with a shot. Sprawling to block. That was Tanev. And it's cleared by Toronto out and down the ice. Minute to go in the power play. First of the game for either team. Drop pass from Schmidt. Allows Bennett to come to the line and in for Marchand. Marchand swinging it around the boards. It'll come to the far side. That draws a crowd on the wall. The puck is stolen, and Yarncrook will get it the rest of the way down the ice for the Maple Leafs.
Well, Leafs are trying to keep it as simple as possible, right? On your stick, get it out. Scotty Laughton had a moment where he was frustrated not being able to move it.
Bouncing puck goes down into the Toronto zone. Swung around to the far side. Cut off by Marner. Marner tees it up for a defenseman. And down the ice it'll go again with 20 seconds left in the first power play. 3 shots for the Panthers. 1 for the Maple Leafs. No score. Down into the Toronto zone again. Lawton getting it freed up, but the puck comes back to the point. Forsling, far side, and a shot that's deflected wide of the Leaf goal. It comes in front of the net. Gobbled up by Toronto and fired out and down the ice on a bounce that goes wide of the goal, and that will conclude the power play as the Leafs are able to kill it off. Tavares line over the boards for the Maple Leafs. Played in over the line on the left wing side. Drop pass. Here's Tavares getting in with a shot. It goes wide. Brandon Carlo with a shot. That bounces in front of the net. Tavares a swipe at it. And it went off his stick and went wide. Tavares ties his man up to keep the puck in pursuit, but he plays it off out center, and Nylander gets it back in over the line. Holmberg trying to work back of the goal, finds a shot from a sharp angle from Tavares and went wide. Carlo a shot that's blocked. Rebound in front of the net, went past the stick of Tavares. Leafs with good pressure here. Holmberg is knocked down from behind. Might have been an interference penalty. It goes around back of the net, and Forsling has it again for Florida to get it out, and he does to center ice.
Best bit of pressure by the Leafs easily. John Tavares, Joe, just as you call it, just had the puck go past him, or he had an empty net tap in.
Kulikov with it in his own zone. Starts out for the Panthers. Bank pass off the left wing boards to Barkov, who sends it in. Benoit tied up his man. The puck goes back off his skate to the blue line. Long shot is blocked. Comes back to Jones again. He's trying to get an opening to shoot it. When he does, good diving play made by Domi to knock a rebound in front of the net into the corner. Domi looking for a loose puck to materialize now as it's up against the wall. Poke free for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Larsson now has it back on the boards. Around the wall, it's going to go and find Jones at the right point. He'll keep it in for Florida. Trip there was a Ekman-Larsson taking his man down, but no call.
Yeah, there is.
Well, there is a call.
4 straight penalties in game 3 and 2 straight before the midway mark of the first period in game 2. And another kind of lazy penalty. You get caught reaching on the far boards, and the Leafs are playing with fire here in the first period.
Penalty kill brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Get home ice advantage on every drive with new Civic Hybrid, proudly built here in Ontario. Visit your Ontario Hydro or Honda dealer rather today. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Toronto.
Multicultural, international, undeniable. Your connection to the sounds from the East. Hear the voices of a global phenomenon on SiriusXM K-pop. How you like that? Or explore trending hits by Asian talents from around the world on Horizon. Listen to these and more anytime at home with SiriusXM on your phone, computer, Alexa, TV, or other internet-connected devices.
Nothing puts you closer to the action than Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
Big news out of Vancouver. Adam Foote is the new head coach of the Vancouver Canucks.
Adam Foote's never been a head coach. And I look at the Vancouver Canucks. If they make that move, it's because they feel this is more about development. This is more about, building for the future. It's not so much about next year. Adam Foote's going to have some growing pain next year.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91.
Hey, Jim Rome here. What's cracking?
Hi.
Hope you're enjoying the game. And when you're not taking in a game, find us on Sirius Channel 161, XM Channel 206. In fact, we'll be there every weekday afternoon, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you've got something you want to break down from this game, you know where to find us. Just make sure you have a take and don't suck.
Step your game up.
That has never changed. In fact, the show has never changed. We're just back home. And it's great to be there. Sirius 161, XM 206. See you there.
The world's most thrilling league is now in the palm of your hand. Hear every English Premier League match all season long on the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favorite team.
On Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Leafs Radio Network.
First period brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca. Another win on the face-off by Florida. Verhaeghe on the left wing boards. Back into the slot. Jones to the right wing side. No shot from Barkov. Barkov holds. Knocks it back to the blue line. Slides it off to Jones. Jones down into the left wing corner. Centering pass. Broken up nicely there by Matthews. Matthews comes into with a corner with it, but can't control it. Round on the boards, Barkov. Had it knocked away. Backhanded to the line and out and down the ice by the Maple Leafs. Minute 27 in the second consecutive power play. Pardon me. For the Florida Panthers. Been a little choked up, Mr. Brown. Shot down into the Toronto zone. Along the boards near corner. Played to the line, but not enough. They had an ample opportunity to clear there and didn't, as Carlo couldn't get enough on it. Hammered there by Benoit, but it'll be trapped on the far side by Tkachuk. Stolen by Benoit, and he fans on it trying to clear. Kept in by Barkov. Barkov with a deflection in front of the net. Still free. It comes back to the blue line, and mercifully, this time it comes out into neutral ice.
Oh, the Leafs had to wait for the Panthers to do it 3 times. The Leafs had a chance to clear it in about a 6-second span and could only bounce it to the blue line.
Bennett in on the right side. Stolen back by the Maple Leafs. Chipped high, this time out and down the ice again. And it'll get down into Florida territory with 27 seconds left in it. The power play is Schmidt. Starts out of his own zone. He drops the puck for Bennett. Bennett to the line and in on the left wing for Marchand. Along the boards for Tanev. Tanev to his defense partner, who got it ahead to Scotty Lawton. And Lawton rifles it off the boards and down the ice. Seems like a very simple thing to do. My goodness. Penalty expires. Leafs have dodged 2 bullets from the chamber. Brought on now by the Leafs to center. It comes across the line. Here's a shot by Matthews, and it deflects wide of the goal. Matthews with a good hit in the corner to play it to Marner in front of the goal. Backhand try by Knives. Big save, Bobrovsky. Best scoring chance so far for Toronto. Marner to the point. Carlo into the slot. It goes to Matthews, and a wrist shot goes off a body. Marner with the loose puck. Back to the point to Riley. A shot. That was stopped by Bobrovsky. Leafs pressing here as it comes to center ice. Morgan Riley playing it off the backboards to his defense partner and gets it returned quickly. Riley starts up with a lead pass off his stick down into Florida territory. No icing. Played off a stick to the near boards and brought out now by Verhaeghe, who will shoot it into the Toronto zone. Benoit ties up his man, and Pontus Holmberg turns with the puck, gives it back to the defense. It'll come to the near side to Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who gets it ahead at center. Holmberg's pass for Tavares was intercepted, but Brandon Carlo carries on into the slot area now for Nylander. Nylander with a shot that was deflected on goal and stopped, and it's cleared to center ice and knocked to the near boards then by the Maple Leafs. Carlo ties his man up and will regroup it. No score, first period. Cross the line now for Toronto. In along the boards and tackled there was Bobby McMahon. He got it free for Domi. Couldn't get a shot away. And when it was cleared into the slot area, it was by everybody and back into the Toronto zone. Pacioretty back to retrieve the puck. Reverses it for Carlo. Around on the boards, it'll come up on the wing. Pacioretty just gets it into neutral ice. A bouncing puck off his stick, though, is stolen by Domi. Domi into the corner. Domi tries to center, and it went off Pacioretty's stick. McCabe in the corner. Back to the net for Domi. Domi working in the far corner. Back to McCabe for a one-timer. And Bobrovsky has that. And is that McMahon sitting on him? He gets dragged off by one of the Panthers, and it'd be pretty easy to take somebody out of this scrum after the Leafs have taken the first 2 penalties of the game.
I think the reason McMahon goes into Bobrovsky is he got drilled looking for the rebound. But you've got to like Joe. Matthew Nyes had the best opportunity of them all, but the Leafs, after the 2 penalty kills, have responded with a couple of solid shifts in the Florida zone. But Matthew Nyes just couldn't get the backhand around the left pad of Sergei Bobrovsky.
No score, and you're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Toronto and the Maple Leaf Radio Network.
Guess who just bundled their home and auto with Desjardins Insurance?
Well, look at you, all grown up and saving money.
Yes, I am.
Mom told you to do it, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Get insurance that's really big on care. Switch and you could save up to 35%.
We are passing 102,000 subscribers / insiders here on TSI tonight during the Leafs game. What a journey it has been. The plaque is on its way. The good news? It's going to be here before the kids get out of school. The bad news? It's not going to be here before the end of this series. Our Maple Leafs need to get the win tonight. Come on, Leafs fans in the chat. Let's get that chant going. Go, Leafs, go! Thank you for being here. If you're new, hit that subscribe button and help us continue to grow this amazing community that we have here. We're live for every single game of the playoff pulse in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. Every single game. And oh yeah, all 82 Leafs games, all Blue Jays games, all TFC games. You get the point. Thanks for being here. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you back in the chat.
At 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Glorious day to start the May 2-4 long weekend. Got a lot of yard work done today. Got my lawn done and things coming in very nicely. I got a little chipping done today too, Mr. Ralph. I might improve that part of the game.
My son got quite a bit done today.
Back to the point it goes. Oliver Ekman-Larsson plays it along into the far corner, then had it blocked, played it in a little bit deeper. Tavares couldn't get it back. And it comes to center ice for Nylander, sends it in over the line, and Tavares rolls it in on goal, scooped aside by Bobrovsky, played off the glass to the line, and a glove pass apparently is being whistled down here, so it'll bring it back into the center ice area.
Despite the fact the Panthers have had only 2 power plays of this game, Leafs have got a slight edge in shots on goal with 6-4. So we can say better than Game 5, but not dominant. What you were hoping was the start they had in Game 3 before they got off to the early 2-0 lead. But they're going to start killing penalties to get back in your heels early.
Matthews, Marner, and Nyes for Toronto. Marner won the faceoff. Oliver Ekman-Larsson has to track it down in his own zone. Gets it ahead for Marner. Marner dropping it back for OEL, who carries to center with a pass in on the left wing. It's deflected down around back of the floor to goal. Marner gets his man in against the wall to allow the puck to go to Matthews. Matthews to Nyes. Nyes back to Matthews in tight quarters. Comes back to the point. OEL to the left point. Pass in front of the net. Went wide. Near corner for Nyes. Carries back along the board. Still with it. Nyes trying to bull his way to the front. Got it out in front. It comes back to the blue line. OEL a drive. That was stopped. The rebound centered in front. Back to the point again. Oliver Ekman-Larsson sends it along the boards for Matthews. Matthews walks the line to the near side for OEL. A pass back into the slot that didn't connect, but Matthews has the puck again with a shot, and that was deflected wide by Bobrovsky. Jones back of the floor to goal. Having difficulties getting out, was going to retrace his steps now in the corner, and he finds his defense partner Mikkola, who will get it into the neutral zone and out and down into the Leaf end. Here the Panthers in with a shot, and that went high and wide of the Leaf goal. Puck along the boards is brought out now by McMahon. McMahon chipping it in over the line and gets to it along the boards. Puts the brakes on in the corner. Rubbed out there by Schmidt, the puck goes around back of the net for Yarncrook. Yarncrook in the near corner. Cycles it back in along the boards. The Leafs trying to get a little cycle job going here. Centering pass. Went wide as it was intended there for Yarncrook. Leafs are able to keep it in, but Kulikov will get it ahead. Bennett playing it in, or at least Tkachuk playing it in, but we've got a whistle, and we're still not quite with our audio, as it seems to be a bit ahead of us, but we're all right here. No score here in the period. 4 minutes, 38 seconds to go here in the first frame.
One of the things we love doing, too, is checking the readjustment of shots on goal.
Ooh, readjust.
They were 7-4 at one point.
Yep.
Now they're 7-2. Favoring the Leafs, as they've been able to get some shots on to Sergei Bobrovsky, but looking for that one fortunate bounce.
The line launches it high into the corner. 3:29 to go in a scoreless first period. Marner in against the boards against Jones. Tried to play it out, knocked Jones down, and it's brought out at center ice now by Barkov on the left wing and in over the line there for Reinhart. He couldn't make a play. Now carries down into the left wing corner. Managed to get it back to the point. Schmidt to the far side. A shot deflects wide of the Leaf goal. Kept in by Schmidt on the near side, but cut off in the corner. And the Maple Leafs will start out with a long pass intended for a leap forward back at the blue line. Not sure who that was. Might have been Yarncrook. Yarncrook now back into the defensive responsibilities. The puck goes around to the far side. Lawton trying to pin his man Kulikov. It goes into the near corner. Leafs reversing it now, and it'll be Benoit starting out in the far corner, getting a long lead pass to center. Backhanded deep into Florida territory to allow the Leafs to change. 2.5 minutes to go in a scoreless first period. Forsling is back to the Panther goal. Got it to the Leaf blue line. A turnover there. Leafs play it back at center. Off a stick. Benoit. And now a whistle for some reason. And your guess is as good as mine.
I think the puck
we got a nice
bench,
shot of Morgan Riley on the bench, but I have no idea what that was for.
Well, the Leafs were fortunate. Loose to Ryan, and it was Morgan Riley, Joe. We talked about getting back on that odd man rush by the Florida Panthers. He just got his stick on the puck.
Well, we'll try and find out what went on with that stoppage of play when we come back. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News.
Find out who will lift the FA Cup trophy this weekend on SiriusXM FC. Crystal Palace are 90 minutes away from their first FA Cup title.
Eze into the area, right-footed shot, slams it in!
In their path is a dangerous Manchester City side, keen on salvaging their season.
Oh, Kevin De Bruyne, that is simply sensational.
It's the FA Cup final, Palace versus City, tomorrow at 11:30 Eastern on SiriusXM FC, channel 157 in the car, and on the SiriusXM app.
Under review.
And stop making excuses for bad goaltending. And is it bad? Is it horrendous? If you don't win because you don't make a save or two, yeah. The nature of it is the goaltender is responsible for 90% of the action. He's got to stop the puck. Why do we keep making apologies for goaltendings? Stop it.
Under review with Mick Kern. 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. Sirius XM NHL Network Radio puts you on the ice.
If you're trying to describe what playoff hockey is,
Well, the ebbs and the flows, the momentum changes, the willingness to sacrifice whatever it.
Hey, insiders, all right, we are ready to go. This chat is fired up. It's buzzing in here. We are way past 102,000 subscribers. Apologies for the little audio issue there. Unfortunately, I gotta see this here. It was this guy. And yes, right there with the green screen, Joseph Wall. As a little kitten, he loved hiding in the wall. And we named him Joseph. Go Leafs, go. Joe's back.
Shot in on goal, stopped by Wall into the corner. Tanev, who has been hit more than any other player in this playoff. Backhands to center. Now we've got another whistle after it was airmailed into the neutral zone. And I don't know why this is.
It was right when Florida touched it. I don't know if there's...
Matthew Nyes doubled over a little bit on the bench after a hit.
Well,
I don't know why that call was made, but
2 in a row.
Yeah. Leafs win the face-off. Flipped into the zone and down into the corner it goes. Jones up against the boards. Puck came free up along the wall. Cut off by the Leafs. The centering pass went off the stick of McMahon. And the Panthers get it down to the Toronto zone. Brandon Carlo in the near corner. Banks it to his defense partner and up the boards Riley, getting it to the line but not out. And the puck maintained here by Florida. Off a stick, cleared by the Leafs to center ice. Waiting for teammates to get onside was Boquist, and Jesper Boquist sends it into the Toronto zone. Both teams are changing with 1:17 to go. Scoreless first period. Down in Florida. Pass off the boards to center. We got another whistle for I don't know why. This is very confusing.
They bring the 2-line pass back into the game.
I don't know. We're getting lots of shots of Matthew Nyes on the bench, but I have no idea.
This was just passed from the Leaf zone
into the neutral zone.
It wasn't offside.
And now it's, unless it was touched with a glove, I don't know. Well, all right, play back underway. Less than a minute to go in the period. Yarncrook got it to the line, a delayed offside this time, and it is whistled down. Yeah, the audio is way ahead of what we're seeing on the video, so we apologize. Sometimes some plays are going to be whistled down like that was before we even see it happening, and apparently that's been a couple of the occasions that we've had with whistles that we have no idea why they were implemented. But 54.9 seconds to go here in the period. Faceoff is outside the Florida blue line. Yarncrook, Domi, and Pacioretty. Leafs win the draw. Launch down into Florida territory. Mikkola goes back for it. The puck in the near corner. And it'll be played to the line, but not out. Leafs are able to keep it in. Domi is around back of the net, centering. That was out of the reach of Yarncrook, who was able to recover the puck in the center ice area, though. Leafs back in their own zone. Chipping it along the boards. It goes down into Florida territory. Bobrovsky out to play it with 26 seconds left to go here in the period. Both teams are changing. Mikkola with the puck back of the Florida goal. Plays it off the boards, and we get another whistle.
That went into the Leaf bench. 17.5 seconds to go. Well, as you're looking at this right now, Joe, what you're saying is it's a good road period to start this game.
Yep.
You've killed off the only 2 penalties of the period and have only given up 2 shots in the process. 7-2 the shots. The Leafs haven't had a ton in the Florida zone.
Well, Nyes had the great scoring chance.
But not a ton.
No.
But you're still happy that you've created more than you've given up to this point.
Puck goes down into the Toronto zone off a face-off win. Tanev in the near corner. Gets it along the boards. Fighting there to get it out. The Leafs do. Kachuk getting it back, and it is shot back into the Toronto zone with 2 seconds left in the period. And the horn will go as the period ends. So no scoring in the first 20 minutes, and the Leafs have, if not, certainly not a spectacular first period, but a solid first period of a road game in a must-win situation.
Yeah, and I think the biggest fear coming in was you'd get steamrolled early on, the crowd would be into it, and you'd be back on your heels, and you thought with the 2 power plays that Florida got in the first period, here's the opportunity to do that. The Leafs weren't perfect in their own ends. There was times on the penalty kill they couldn't seem to get the puck past the blue line and out, but they were able to survive it. 2 shots on goal in a game like this in the first period, I think is huge for the Leafs, but eventually you got to hope next power play is coming to Toronto, and that might be the game changer.
So we'll ship it off to Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert for our first period intermission. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Toronto. And
there's a world where New Wave rolls. First Wave, where 80s era alternative and cult classics play 24/7.
All right, insiders, end of the first period, 0-0. Hey, you know what? I'm not mad. I'm not mad. We're not losing. And you know what? The Buds look good. They looked okay out there. Couple penalties. It's been the same all series long. So it's not going to change now. The Leafs are holding their own, at least in the first period, so we got to give them that. I'm ready to see us get on the score sheet here. I think it's going to be Austin Matthews. This guy has got to put up something. He's got to put up something here in this series. He is in way too much of a slump here. Injuries, no injuries, whatever. Wrist's been bothering him, all this business. He's got to figure it out. If he's on the ice, he's got to figure it out. All right, look at this. This chat is just fired up, and of course, I didn't switch it over to the chat thing, but I need to switch this this stinger out of here and get rid of that the long plaque going across. Now that we're at 102,079, we're about to hit 102,100, like well clear of the 102. Let's go. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. What are you waiting for? Yes, an old man, dad of 4, TSI Allison, my wife there in the chat, just, saying she needs wine. I'm going to need a cocktail. Like, let's go. It's just what it is. Creating on YouTube. Let's go. Go Leafs, go. Thank you, Chuck, for the stats and the grand explanation there of how you'll end up right back here. Let's take it to the intermission. Go Leafs, go. This is huge. Boys, we have got to take the lead here. We do not want to go down. It's not happening. If you haven't answered the poll yet, jump on it. And make sure you check out our SickKids Hospital campaign page for the Playoff Pulse. 100% of the revenue tonight and every Leafs game goes straight to SickKids through our Playoff Pulse campaign. And God, I'm hoping our Buds can pull this off and win the next 2. There you go. What happened to the chat? I could not get on. Uh-oh, Mark. I don't know. What happened? What happened to the chat? That's not good. Chat seems to be working here. Good. Just fine on our side. But maybe it was a bad signal there, Duff. All right. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you back in the chat. Next commercial break, we'll let the SickKids video run. Because I love that video. It's so cool seeing what we're doing here. And why, when I say we're changing the world one insider at a time, I mean it. Go Leafs, go. Let's get the goal here in the second period started out quick.
It's never been a head coach. And I look at the Vancouver Canucks. If they make that move, it's because they feel this is more about development. This is more about, building for the future. It's not so much about next year. Adam Foote's going to have some growing pain next year.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91. The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome to Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio Toronto and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert. It's a scoreless first 20 minutes in this do or die for the Toronto Maple Leafs as they play in Game 6 at sunrise against the Florida Panthers. But lots to go through in that period, and I think it was mostly positive.
Yeah, scoreless, but as good as it gets. If it's scoreless for the Toronto Maple Leafs, considering the situation, considering the opponent, and considering, the backs are firmly against the wall. I mean, just look at the numbers at even strength, and really overall, it was dominant at even strength, though. High danger shot attempts for the Maple Leafs, 9-0 is the count. Shots at 5-on-5, 7-1 in favor of the Maple Leafs. It was pretty comprehensive from a 5-on-5 perspective. The Maple Leafs tilted the ice. They were the dominant team in that period. Did allow 2 power plays to Florida, which Florida didn't really create much with. So all in all, you really can't quibble with the period. The Maple Leafs responded quite well to the disappointment of Game 5. It just didn't yield a goal.
Yeah, they went through the first 10 minutes of the period with 2 back-to-back penalties called for them, Benoit and OEL, with deserved penalties. It wasn't like that first period a couple games ago where they had 4 and there was some questionable ones. I think
it was trending toward that period.
It was
felt
getting
like,
a
where
little
it's
bit,
okay, it's a penalty.
Again.
Yeah, that's a penalty.
Yes.
But if there's another one, you're like, okay, come on.
Exactly.
But it didn't get there.
But I do think a power play, if you don't score in it, can really give you question. And if you kill off 2 penalties, I think it can give a team a lot of momentum. And that's exactly what we saw after that. The Leafs looked like they sat there and watched this penalty and worked hard on the penalty kill and then came out and said, that's enough. We're going to take this game over. And every shift after that was downhill. They were coming over the boards. It was about a 3 or 4 minute span where there was no whistles and the Leafs were just buzzing. The Domi line had a really good line, and then the 34 line, he had a couple great chances. Matthew Nyes had a chance to put it past Bobrovsky and just missed. McMahon falls on top of Bobrovsky. They were really controlling every asset of the second half of that period after the 2 penalties. And I think when you kill 2 penalties in a game like this where you have to win, you look at that and say, okay, let's build on this. Let's get some momentum. And it was really impressive to see. They weren't shying away. They were trying to get a little dirty, and they were throwing the puck at the net. And I think that's exactly what their game plan should be in the second period.
Austin Matthews was definitely a highlight in that period. There were some opportunities for him, and they, end up being the same as they've been, which is shot attempts and shots that don't actually result in goals. But there was a lot of criticism, clearly, about number 34, number 16. You can go down the line, but those were the 2 at the top of the heap in terms of criticism. And on one hand, you're thinking, okay, that's what we expect. Austin Matthews is buzzing, he's involved. He's certainly been a semblance of what you'd expect from him normally. But also the flip side is that, how could it not look like that last game? How could it not look like that in previous games? Why are you saving energy and momentum and intent for this moment when we didn't see any of it in Game 5? So I think you can look at it both ways. If he continues to play well and maybe helps the Maple Leafs win tonight, you're going to be lauding him. But if you run out of time to show your intent, there's going to be a lot of second guessing about, where was that earlier, because the Maple Leafs, as I mentioned, have no room for error here. And despite the uptick in performance, it hasn't meant anything yet.
I would say the only negative out of that period, besides 2 penalties, was Matthew Nyes went down with about 4 minutes left in the period. He had a reverse hit. I don't know who it was he was trying to lay the body on, but they laid the body back to him, almost like a backwards.
Mikkola, like a reverse hit type of situation.
Hit, and they've showed it on the broadcast a few times, but he's been hobbled over the bench, has not gone on the ice since. Looks like he's really laboring. I would estimate that it was kind of like a hip slash gut, kind of like a gut punch. But we thought, okay, if he's winded, he'll be back out there. He never went back out there. And I was trying to play lip reader, watching him talk to the trainer, and it looked like something like, I can't even move it. So it's did it hit his hip weird? Did he get a rib shot? But that would be a big loss if Matthew Nyes doesn't come back for the second. We'll keep you updated, of course, but that's the one negative. There you go. They've been metaphorical gut punches until this might be a real gut punch for Matthew Nyes, excuse me. So we'll monitor him clearly in the second period, just to underscore, because it's been a bit of a tough go here for John Tavares as this series wears on. Pontus Holmberg re-elevated to that line, playing with William Nylander. The shot attempts for and against 11-1 in that period for the second line. With the 2 checking units that Florida has,
and the one kind of scoring, agitating unit with Sam Bennett and Matthew Tkachuk. I think it's been tough for John Tavares, especially, to assert himself in the series and against the Florida Panthers, but that was a quality start for him just as much as it was for Austin Matthews.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll get you set for the second period. It's scoreless first, 0-0 as the Leafs take on Game 6 in Sunrise. You're listening to Most Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio Toronto and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hey everyone, Adney and Verk here to talk about our great podcast, NHL Unscripted with Verk and Demers.
Jason Demers here. After playing 700 NHL games, it turns out I have an opinion or two. Whoever's saying trade one of them, you don't know anything about hockey. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm rooting for this team. With new guests every week, we will talk about hockey and more.
Can't wait till you watch this movie because it's the biggest award of her career.
He went into the cheetah exhibit. The cheetah took a piece out of him, and he came into the ring the next day.
Tune in to NHL Unscripted with Verk and Demers, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, Arash Madani here. At Honda, they built the CR-V Sport just like you'd build a team for the playoffs. Reliable performance? It's a Honda. Versatility?
To every child and family who've needed us since 1875, and all who support us, our hospital needs no introduction. But just in case, it's SickKids. And it's our 150th birthday. Our mission has always been healthier children, a better world. The first children's hospital in Canada, SickKids. Pasteurizing milk to prevent disease 30 years before it was mandatory. The heart-lung machine that transformed open heart surgery. A pediatric kidney transplant in 1969. SickKids. SickKids. And SickKids. We discovered the gene for cystic fibrosis so patients live longer lives. And we just created the world's first Atlas of Cancer, using machine learning to analyze 13,000 variations. Today, the hospital sees over 130,000 patients a year. We're a research powerhouse, a training magnet, attracting nearly 600 clinical and research fellows from around the globe every year. And we're the #1 publicly funded children's hospital in the world. We're celebrating 150 years of excellence, driven by philanthropy. What's next? Thanks to donors like you, we're going to keep healing Canada and the world, and we're going to heal the future.
A beaver spotter, a coach haul, a bear country guide, a family road trip carrier, a muddy road controller, extreme wind stabilizer, plus a... And we're out of time. Subaru is the multi-tool that masters every unpredictable weather condition. Visit your local Subaru dealer for great lease and finance options.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs playoff hockey.
Got it into the slot now for Nyes, who scores!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio Toronto and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Eilish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert. It's a scoreless first period. Leafs, Panthers, Game 6. Panthers with the 3-2 series lead, looking to push the Maple Leafs packing. But that was a great period for the Leafs and something they could certainly build on. If they play like that for the next 40 minutes, they can win this game and they'll have another game at home on Sunday.
And if we're doing the law of average thing, a couple power plays maybe to come in the final 40 minutes of this game?
That's fair. I think that's fair. We don't really have... I'm curious how you'll spin this. The NHL scoreboard is presented by Bet365. Whatever the moments, never ordinary. Bet365 must be 18 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit ConnexOntario.ca.
Oh, it's an easy spin. Tomorrow night, Game 6, Winnipeg and Dallas. Central Division, I guess, bracket. Western Conference semifinal. A big game that will help decide who will meet the Edmonton Oilers in the Western Conference final. In the NBA... New York Knicks have a 38-24 lead over the Boston Celtics, looking to move on to the Eastern Conference final as we wind down here during playoff season. And in the P-Dub, the Ottawa Charge are 1 period away from advancing to the final
out, girls.
to take on the Minnesota Frost. The Ottawa Charge, last in? into the postseason bracket and potentially into the final to play in the Minnesota Frost.
They're up 2-0. This is devastating.
They're up 2-0 now.
I'm a Victoire fan.
Okay, so 2-0.
Listening.
And they got a 2-goal lead to defend in the
They
final
must have just
frame.
scored. They just scored right now.
Yeah, I just saw it pop up. Okay, so Charge 1 win away, 1 period away from going
This is where MPP,
to the championship series.
Marie-Philippe Poulin puts the
She's
team
gonna
on her
need some of that
back
magic.
and says, I'm Captain Clutch.
If it's just reserved for Canada, I'll accept that, though. I'm not a Victoire fan like you are.
Well,
Scepters guy.
It's been a good playoff series, but it's got to be better. Just like the Leafs, both up with their backs up against the wall. All right, as we mentioned, good period for the Leafs. They controlled a lot of the play, especially after killing 2 penalties early in the first 10 minutes. I thought everybody looked like they brought their game face.
Yeah, other signs of life. Bobby McMahon, Max Domi, guys who are criticized in the depths of the lineup also looked like they had some jump. So all in all, positive period. We'll see if they can build on it.
We'll hope that we get an update on Matthew Nyes as well. After he looked like he was pretty injured at the end of the first period. All right, scoreless after 20. It is Game 6. Jim Ralph and Joe Bowen will have the call the second period next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio.
Sports are all about moments.
One of the most incredible, miraculous finishes we have ever seen.
And you can hear them all.
He scores! Alex Ovechkin! There's a new goal-scoring champion!
As they happen.
Oh my goodness! Shohei Ohtani, a sayonara swing!
Live in the moment.
Rory McIlroy on his knees. He's won the Masters.
With live sports on Sirius XM and the Sirius XM app. NHL Morning Skate.
Frederick Anderson, #1 goaltender with the Canes. Congratulations on the contract extensions.
Yeah, good organization that have high standards and want to push for that championship every year. And we haven't gotten to the ultimate goal, but we've been knocking on the door, and that's the perfect situation. Being on a team that's got those aspirations.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
It's a pleasure to have back on the program Coach Joel Quenneville, back behind an NHL bench next fall.
And I couldn't be more excited about the opportunity to be in Anaheim. Working with Beaker over the last couple of weeks, we're having a lot of fun. The personnel and the young kids, it kind of represents and reminds me of what we had in Chicago when I first went there. And we got a really young team that's going to be exciting to work with for sure.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
No one brings you the passion of the beautiful game quite like SiriusXM FC.
Would you believe this?
Whether it's live matches from the EPL, MLS, the NWSL, or the UEFA Champions League.
This is sensational!
Or live talk shows featuring the sport's most entertaining experts.
You don't get to say, I don't feel like making that play right now. You make the play.
It's the world of soccer at your fingertips.
How mouth-watering is that?
SiriusXM FC, channel 157 in the car, and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
On Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Back for the second period, the Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers tied 0-0. Matthew Nyes, who was shaken up near the end of the first period, is on the ice and ready to take the face-off here to start the second period.
He had just one fewer shift than Matthews and Marner, but
puck is dropped. Sorry, Jimmy. Yep.
Well, didn't miss too much time in the first.
Played down into the Toronto zone. They defend the goal to the right, and the Panthers to the left as it's chopped back out into the center ice area. Florida get it to the Toronto line. Broken up there by the Leafs. They try to punch it about 2 feet from the blue line, and Matthews gets it out. Shot right back in again by Ekblad. Round the boards, far side, Tanev to his defense partner. McCabe missed the pass. Tried to poke it up the boards there against Marchand, who gets into it now. Marchand loses it. McCabe back of the net for Tanev. And Tanev gives it back to McCabe on the near wing, and he'll look up ice, but now no movement yet. Then makes a pass, and it's intercepted as he threw it right onto the stick of the Florida player. And a long shot is blocked away easily by Wall. Back into the corner, back of the net now for Lundell. Lundell back to the blue line, and a shot coming that's blocked. The rebound, where's the puck? It's in front of the net. Walls finally got it and covers up on it, but McCabe with an easy outlet and then just put it right on the tape of the Florida player who was really not causing any problems.
No, and I mean, took a lot of time to do it as well. Looked up ice and then right on the tape and back in it goes the other way. Well, I don't know if this last one gets the wall. I think that hits the mass of players in front of him and drops right at his knee pads.
Face off in the Toronto zone to the right of the Leaf net. Controlled and shot by Florida, but blocked before it reached the goal. Back of the net, Morgan Riley got it around the wall, but cut off there by Ekblad, who shot it wide of the goal. Nylander won't get to it as another shot from the point is swallowed up by Wall. And the Panthers have gotten a couple of shots on goal here early in the period after having just 2 in the first 20 minutes.
Florida's starting to reestablish that forecheck that has given the Leaf fits in the last couple of games. Like we said, you look at the first period and you say exactly what you wanted. You know, low event, you didn't give up much. Crowd isn't in it yet, but boy, do you need the first one.
Face off to the right of Wall. Leafs fourth line out there, but Lawton being waved out of the face-off circle. And so it'll be Yarncrook who will take the draw now for Toronto. And the draw won cleanly by Florida. Back to the point and a shot coming that fucks right out in front of the net. Gobbled up there by Lawton, and he carries to center. Here's the Oakville native in on the left wing for Lorenz. Back along the boards for Lawton. Played around back of the net into the far corner. Tkachuk playing it back of the net. Leafs unable to get there, and now here is Schmidt carrying it out at center with a pass on the right wing, and Marchand shoots it down into the Toronto zone. The puck around the boards to the near wing. Pushed up on the wing, but not out. Comes back to the blue line. Kept in there by Florida. Schmidt, long shot, deflects wide of the Leaf goal. Where's the puck? Gone up into the screen, apparently. And so face-off coming again in the Toronto zone, but the Panthers have started a second period with a lot more veracity on the forecheck, keeping the Leafs hammed in their own end.
At the other end, the Leafs on the forecheck, Joe, just don't seem to have numbers, right? They'll have one guy in, but Florida will have two guys open to make the one play to get it out.
And they're certainly not as aggressive as far as the body contact is concerned. As it's cleared down into the Florida zone. Puck around the boards to the near side. Riley had pinched but couldn't keep it in. Now shot back down into the zone. It goes in around back of the net. McMahon got a piece of his man. The puck goes free. Domi trying to get it back to the point and has. Kept in now off Domi's stick around back of the net. Riley is pinching down against Greer. That keeps the puck in back of the goal line for the Panthers, and now they're going to send an alley-oop through center that bounces in over the line onto the stick. Verhaeghe trying to get it back to the point. A long shot by Nosek went wide of the net, and McMahon will just play it out at center but doesn't get it very deep. Shot right back in again by Florida. Along the boards, Brandon Carlo got away from one forechecker, trying to play it out, hit the referee right in the seat of the pants. And the Leafs get it out and down on a bounce down into Florida territory to allow a change. Nyes up checking for Toronto, and the Panthers have it back of their goal. A pass into the slot area, got away from Marner. Up on the right wing it comes. Ekblad in with a long shot, blockered away, but a big rebound off Wall. Controlled by Florida at the point. Another shot coming, blocked. Nyes trying to play it back, was knocked down on the play, and the Maple Leafs get it out and got it ahead, and now Matthews in across the line to Marner. Marner trying to send it back, had it blocked, but it goes around back of the net. Nyes takes his man down to get it back into the corner, but Matthews couldn't get it away from Barkov. It's cleared to the line, knocked back by Benoit, and it'll force Forsling back into his own zone to play it to the line and out into the center ice area. Leafs have it again there. Played right back in again by Benoit. Out of the net, Bobrovsky scooping it back for Ekblad. Ekblad gets it ahead, and it's backhanded by Barkov into the center ice area. Now the Panthers in with a long shot taken there by defenseman Gustav Forsling that is swallowed up by Joseph Wall to stop play, and a face-off is going to come in the Toronto zone.
It's really turned into a chess match, hasn't it? Very reminiscent of what we saw if anybody watched the Carolina-Washington series. And by the way, we talked about this, and I know it's been posted, but Alexander Ovechkin been centering the league with the Washington Capitals in 2005, 2006. There's only one multiple playoff series in a year once. And that was when they won the Stanley Cup.
Bouncing puck down in the Toronto zone. A drop pass for Marchand. His shot was blocked. The Leafs are able to dig it free. And Holmberg trying to drag it out at center. Goes to the far side. A tip there by Oliver Ekman-Larsson, but he got bowled over. And it's shot back down into the Toronto zone. 15:44 to go in the second period. We are still scoreless as it goes back to the net. Grabbed off by Verhaeghe, played along the boards. The Leafs get there with Nylander. Nylander trying to free it up. Has it knocked up on the wing, but Tavares couldn't get it. Now a sharp angle shot is sent wide of the Leaf goal. Kept in by Jones. Off of Tkachuk. Tkachuk taken to the boards by Benoit. Gets it back to the point to Jones. In traffic, a shot. That goes wide. It comes to the near side. And now Nylander trying to get it out. Didn't get it past the blue line. Kept alive by Florida again. Along the boards in the near corner with Tavares chasing there after Sam Bennett. Bennett gets it back to Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe's pass gets by everybody and goes all the way down into Florida territory. Sometimes just winning a foot is better than winning a 200-foot battle. Down into the corner, it goes into the Toronto zone again. Back to Ekblad, a shot blockered away by Wall. Cleared into the corner. Centering pass comes back. Ekblad with it again, a shot blocked. It broke a stick. That is the stick of Pacioretty, but he makes a good play to get a skate in the way, and it's deflected down into the Florida zone. McMahon unable to get any forechecking going, and here come the Panthers again. They're coming in waves. Shot deflects wide of the Toronto goal. Someone's lost a stick in that corner, and now the Leafs are shorthanded again as it is Lawton without a stick. Played by Brandon Carlo. He'll get it up on the wing, but not out. Carlo gets it again to play it back of the net for Morgan Rielly. He'll have to hurry and get it to the line, and a collision there, but the Leafs don't get it out. Played into the far corner again. Back of the net for Greer. Greer ties his man up. Lawton gets it free. Played it off the glass into the crowd. And out of play, but a whistle and a much needed change of players as the Leafs, two players breaking their sticks and causing them to be shorthanded in the defensive zone. Still no score in this hockey game. Game 6, the Leafs do or die. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Want to get in on the action for the Stanley Cup playoffs? At Bet365, we've got you. From game props, player props, totals, and the money line. You can even bet on futures like series winners, conference champions, the Stanley Cup champions, and much, much more. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. An official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
When you get a Subaru with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and class-leading safety included, it's like you also get a Subaru that comes with your very own golf club holder, stadium parking navigator, a basketball team transporter, a remote cottage finder, a beaver spotter, a coach hauler, bear country guide, a family road trip carrier, a muddy road controller, extreme wind stabilizer, plus a... And we're out of time. Subaru is the multi-tool that masters every unpredictable weather condition. Visit your local Subaru dealer for great lease and finance options.
Guess who just bundled their home and auto with Desjardins Insurance?
Well, look at you, all grown up and saving money.
Yes, I am.
Mom told you to do it, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Get insurance that's really big on care. Switch and you could save up to 35% on home insurance when you bundle home and auto. Desjardins Insurance. Here for your home, auto, life, and business needs. Certain conditions apply.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs playoff hockey.
They score! Rocket McMahon again!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
If nothing else, they're certainly zooming in on the injury to Matthew Nyes.
Yep.
He's getting lots of camera time. That'll.
Yep. So Florida doesn't know. Just check the game tape.
That's right.
The game 7.
If anybody's watching this feed, they're certainly knowing of it. So the Leafs win the face-off down in the Toronto zone. McCabe sweeping it along the boards. Got to the line. McMahon battling for it. Cleared back into the zone.
McMahon out with Marner and Matthews down.
All right. McMahon on the near boards. trying to fight for possession. Got it back to Tanev. Tanev will bank it off the boards for Marner. He couldn't tip it ahead, and the Panthers are bringing it right back in over the line. Sam Reinhart into the slot, and a shot swallowed up by Wall and held for a face-off in the Toronto zone.
Do not have a shot on goal in the first 6 minutes and 36 seconds here of the second period. That's going to be the sixth one for the Florida Panthers.
Well, it's a gorgeous day in Toronto. Lots of people are watching the game out in the backyards. My son Liam is at his baseball buddy Ryan Merriman's enjoying it. A great spot, eh? Get the backyard filled up turn it into a pool hut. Off you go. Pass to the side of the Toronto goal. Chipped along the wall by Lawton. Panthers keeping it in. They've dominated the period, and a shot blocked there with the puck in the skates of the Maple Leafs. Flipped to the line and out off the stick there of Lorenz. Yarncrook can't get to it. Lorenz has it knocked away. Played to the line and in for Lawton. Lawton winds and shoots, and it's a blockered away there by Bobrovsky. Centering pass didn't reach Yarncrook. And now here the Panthers breaking out with three Leafs trapped. 3-on-2 rush. In across the line for Hagee. Trying to get it in front of the net was Kulikov, but it had it blocked. It goes back of the goal, though, and a centering pass goes off a stick high back of the goal. Oliver Ekman-Larsson getting it ahead, and it's played out into the center ice area by Toronto. Forsling going back after it. For Hagee. Gets it for Marchand. Marchand gets it down into the Toronto end. Played around the boards by the Leafs, and now Morgan Riley trying to start out with it. He had it blocked. Centering pass off on the left wing. Good play by Benoit. He stepped into Brad Marchand and flattened him. Puck on the near boards, played by Marchand back into the Toronto zone. Riley taken to the wall. So is Holmberg. Holmberg trying to get the puck free. It goes off a skate. Leafs unable to come up with it as it comes around into the near corner. And it has been all Florida here in the first 9 minutes of this second period. Tavares late getting to it. Point shot coming. Good pad save. Nylander can't clear. And it's cleared right back in along the boards then by Ekblad. Riley can't come out with it. Now he gets another opportunity. Just slides it around the boards, but no one there. Here are the Panthers again buzzing around that net. Nylander finally gets it and then turned and tried to make a little flip pass out and never got it elevated. Shot taken there. Comes to the side of the goal. It's cleared. Nylander desperately getting it out now to center ice. Well, I don't know if the timeout is that valuable that you can't use it at some point here for Craig Berube's team. Leafs get it down and over the line, though. Nylander down low, got it in front of the net. Tavares couldn't get his stick on it. Panthers coming back. Cross the line is Reinhart. Dropping it back now. Here's a chance for Boqvist. That was off the blocker wide. Comes back to the blue line and out at center ice. Leafs with it in their own zone.
I get the feeling this is starting to open up.
Played in over the line. Nyes back into the fray, but on the left wing here with Domi. A hit has the puck go the length of the ice. And again, icing call coming here against the Florida Panthers.
Matthew Nyes clearly laboring here in the second period for the Leafs, but Simon Benoit, as Brad Marchand tries to do a little toe drag through the left wing circle, and Simon Benoit just stands up and drops him.
So it is a 0-0 tie still in the second period. 10:32 to play in the frame. Leafs scrum the draw, but don't come up with it. And Matthews may have taken a high stick. He's going to the bench. Played up on the wing by the Panthers to the line and in. And on the left wing it goes. A wrist shot is smothered there by Wall, and he's going to cover up on it. And Austin Matthews.
Boy, and this.
No, it's more his eye.
Yeah, this is right off the face-off.
Right off the face-off. Alexander Barkov comes up with that stick and clips Matthews underneath, and Matthews is heading down the walkway.
How do you miss that?
You mean like the Stolars incident?
Boy, Matthews and Matthew Nyes both laboring now. We don't know if Austin Matthews is going to return.
Face off to the right. And the face-off wasn't done correctly. Maybe the linesman could pay attention a little bit to how did you miss that?
Well, the linesman's
it's in the face-off circle. Yeah. It's right there.
Linesman's trying to get out of the way.
No, the linesman. Yeah. But the official. Leafs are able to flip it out at center. Marner got it across the line, but McMahon couldn't track it down. Domi up between McMahon and Marner now. Played by the Leafs back into the offensive zone. Domi down the boards. Marner looking for a loose puck. It comes free, but it is grabbed off by Florida and brought to center ice. Dumped into the zone by Schmidt. Tkachuk trying to get a hit in there on the boards. It comes out in front. Tkachuk couldn't get to it. Domi has time and space, and he'll clear it up on the right wing. That goes off Oliver Ekman-Larsson in on goal. Scooped aside by Bobrovsky. Long lead pass gets to Tkachuk across the line. I thought I heard a whistle. Oh, now we don't know what this whistle is for. Well, we got a shot of the Leaf bench.
He's getting smaller. We'll try to keep an eye on whether Austin Matthews.
Bench minor. Too many men on the ice. Oh, too many men on the ice. All right.
And is it Florida?
Well, they're looking at the tablet a little more than the Leafs are.
We're watching the Leafs are the ones with the line change. 2, 4, 7. Oh, yeah, Florida.
Yeah, they got 6 on there, and 2 guys jumped. So the Maple Leafs are going to get their first power play opportunity of the game. It may be the most important power play they've had this season. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio.
NASCAR's biggest stars.
Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano,
Kyle Larson return to one of its most historic tracks.
Jeff Gordon wins the final race at North Wilkesboro
with $1 million on the line.
$1 million, baby!
It's the NASCAR All-Star Race from North Wilkesboro Speedway.
He wins the $1 million.
Sunday nights, 8 Eastern on Sirius.
Whoa, how many thousand do we have in the chat right now? Oh, man. All right, now's the time of the show for you to let us know where you're watching from. Let's see where hockey fans are gathering from all over the world. Let's see where Leafs Nation is hanging out together here on TSI. Listening to Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph, the best in the business, the best that have ever done it. Thank you for letting us know where you're watching from, the city and province in the chat if you're in Canada, city and state in the USA, and let's see those flag emojis from all over the world. Thank you. New Zealand, Australia, Philippines, the list goes on. Brazil, all over Canada and the United States, Mexico, South Africa, Israel, Czech Republic, you name it. Thank you for being here, and thanks for letting us know where you're watching from. Now let's get back to cheering on our Maple Leafs. Come on, buds. We need the win tonight in this decisive Game 5. Go, Leafs, go. Go, Leafs, go. Go, Leafs, go.
On the ice for this power play. Marner to the far side. Matthews with a shot. That's blocked. There's a rebound in front of the goal. They're banging away at it. The puck is still free. Jammed at and now centered by Tavares. Tavares gets it back again into the corner. Matthews comes away with it. Matthews back to the point. Marner to Willie. Nylander on the near half boards. Gets it back to Marner. One touch over for Matthews. Matthews top of the circle in front for Tavares. Backhand doesn't work. Cleared out and down the ice. Wall will play it ahead. Marner is back there to recover. He gets it ahead, but Tavares is offside. I don't know what kept Tavares from getting out of the zone.
1:24 gone. The Leafs finally get a shot here in the period. It comes with about 8 minutes, just under 9 minutes to go here in the second period. That was a point shot by Austin Matthews, but Sergei Bobrovsky bobbling the rebound. And the Leafs just couldn't find a handle on it to jam it in.
Matthews and Matthew Nyes are back on this power play. Down in the Toronto zone. And
the pass came from inside their own blue line.
I guess, yeah. I guess that's the reason for the offside. And the the penalty of it is coming all the way back into the Toronto end. Now the Leafs breaking it out. Nylander up on the left wing. Nyes deflects it down into the zone and trying to get in there on the forecheck. Taking it against the boards is Mikkola. That draws Tavares into it as well as it comes around to the far side. John's not going to get there to keep it in, and it's out into the center ice area where the Panthers are going to just play it down into the Toronto zone. Wall leaving it back of the net for Mitch Marner. 40 seconds to go in the power play. Matthews drops it back to him. Marner drops it back in turn to Matthews. Matthews hits the line with a pass in for Pacioretty. Back for Matthews. Comes to the side of the goal, a backhand. And a penalty coming here to Toronto.
Boy, it's going
to catch this high stick on Ekblad, I guess. Matthews, who got high stick earlier in the face-off circle, ends up clipping Ekblad, and a penalty coming to Toronto.
And Matthews just giving it to the official.
Caught this one, didn't catch the other one.
Boy, and this is a sell job by Aaron Ekblad. I don't know if any, there's contact made. I mean, it's a high sticking penalty, but I guess Matthews should have rolled around or snapped the head back a little more to try to draw it. So a little bit of 4-on-4 action before the Florida Panthers go to their third power play of the night.
So the penalty kill is brought to you by our Ontario Honda dealers. Get home ice advantage on every drive with the new Civic Hybrid. Proudly built here in Ontario. Visit your Ontario Honda dealer today. Face off in the Toronto zone as a result of the penalty to Matthews. 4-on-4 hockey here for 24 seconds. Riley gets it up on the right side into the slot area for the Leafs, and a pass in. Nylander deflecting that, and Bobrovsky was down and out, but they couldn't get another shot away. Willie is able to clear it along the board. He's tripped, and no call there from the official who just happened to be watching it. Ekblad getting it out, and now the power play will come into effect for Florida. 1:31. No score. Reinhart dropping it back. Jones comes through neutral ice. Played in on the right side. Jones goes after it himself. Tanev got it back of the goal. Grabbed by the Leafs on the far corner by Yarncrook. Yarncrook against the boards. Can't get it up on the wall far enough. Kept in by Jones at the right point. Onto the left wing side. Off a stick. Gobbled up by the Maple Leafs. Yarncrook carries out. Looks for a man as he gets across the line. Tried to shoot it in as Marner was into the attack as well. But that didn't work. Al Marner back checking against Reinhart as it comes in over the line to Tkachuk. Tkachuk dropping it back to Jones down the slot. Left wing side and a shot. That was blocked. It comes to the far wing, and it'll be Lorenz getting it out. And he gets interfered with after dumping the puck in as it goes down into the Florida zone. Barkov organizing in his own zone along with Schmidt. Nate Schmidt gets it up on the wing, intercepted and hammered off the boards by Brandon Carlo, and the Leafs will ice the puck with 20 seconds to go. Third power play of the game for Florida. The Leafs have had one. Here's Tkachuk in across the line. He couldn't penetrate. Now Schmidt will drill it in. Wall slows it up enough for Tanev to get it along the boards for Lawton, and Lawton will send it the rest of the way down the ice to kill off the remaining seconds. So the Leafs penalty kill has been excellent. 3 for 3. Still a scoreless tie here in the second period with 5:52 to go in the period. And a shot blocked by Wall on the short side. Leafs get it free on the near wing for Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who plays ahead. Along the boards, it is Pontus Holmberg for Tavares. Tavares with a wrist shot that was deflected wide. Tried to play it in front of the net. That didn't work. Panthers go around back of their own goal. Get it up on the wing for Mikkola. Mikkola, bank pass to the Leaf blue line, broken up by Morgan Riley. Riley again against the boards. Can't get it out. Barkov is into the corner. Barkov centers. Weak shot taken by Reinhart was deflected wide. And Tavares has it back of the net for his defenseman, Jake McCabe. Leafs are changing. Both teams are taking an opportunity to get an exchange of players going. McCabe back of the net. Strides out now on the left wing. Got it ahead, deflected in by Bobby McMahon. Pacioretty goes after it. along the boards. It'll come out at center ice for Tkachuk. Tkachuk's going to send it down into the Toronto zone. And Benoit has to hustle back and go back of the net and play it up on the wing. And out come the Leafs with Bobby McMahon. With speed down the right wing. He's got Domi with him. Domi trying to get a backhand away, and it rolled off his stick. Bennett airs it down into the Toronto zone, but quickly cleared right back. Domi after it, but can't come up with it. Cleared to center ice by the Panthers. And Greer gets it the rest of the way into the Toronto end. Shots are 14-9 in favor of Florida. So 7-3. Oh, no longer than that, right? 12.
12-3 now.
Leafs play it down into the Florida end. Schmidt missed a hit from Matthews. Matthews curls out of the corner with the puck, sends it to the net, hit the side of the goal. Nyes after it in the near boards. Matthews down the wall, has the puck go high into the air. Riley keeping it in to Marner. Marner with a little head fake. Now sends it to the net and it went off his stick and went wide. Nyes chops it in along the boards and Riley gets it back of the net. Marner centering in front. Pass was too high to be knocked out of the air there by Matthews. Back to the point, Leafs with some pressure here, though. Riley off on the wing as one of the Florida Panthers has lost his stick. Penalty coming here. And it has to be going against Florida, I think. Although we're not getting any indication of it. Is it Ekblad?
Well, they've just shown Ekblad on the screen. 3:30 to go. Yeah, yep. Ekblad is going to go.
2 minutes. Interference.
Interference is going to be the call.
Being done without the stick.
Well,
at any rate.
Might have been Willie Nylander crashing the net, looking for the pass.
Oh, no, maybe in front of the net. Marner got knocked down. At any rate, Leafs going to the power play for a second time in the period. No score. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hi, Arash Madani here. At Honda, they built the CR-V Sport just like you'd build a team for the playoffs. Reliable performance? It's a Honda. Versatility? You've got all-wheel drive. High IQ plays? That's Honda's.
Good evening, hockey fans, Maple Leafs fans, everyone from all over the world. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight for game number 6 of the Maple Leafs and the Panthers. Our buds' backs are against the wall, but that doesn't mean our playoff pulse campaign takes any breaks. We're here. Please check that link that's pinned in the chat and in the description and donate if you are able. Please help us raise money for the best kids hospital in the world. I'm a little bit biased being today if it wasn't for the work that they did there, especially with insulin back in the 1950s and then into the 60s. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you for making a difference. Just by being here, 100% of our Leafs playoff revenue will be donated to SickKids. Thank you. You, yeah, just the random person who's here, never been here before, subscribed. Thank you. You're making a difference. Go Leafs, go. We got to get the win tonight. We got to keep this going.
Ekblad in the penalty box. Leafs on the power play. Marner feathers it off on the far side. Got it back, then got a shot away. There was a big, juicy rebound taken to safety by the Panthers and cleared ahead. And now here's Barkov bringing it in over the Leaf blue line. Barkov taken to the boards and Nylander got it up on the wing for Tavares. Tavares dropping it back and Marner starts out of his own zone.
Matthew Nyes down on the power play, Joe. Max Pacioretty is out instead.
All right. Brought on by Nylander to the line and in. Works to the right wing boards for Tavares. Tavares ran into a traffic jam. The puck comes free. Grabbed off by Reinhart and he sends it out and down the ice. Marner will go back to retrieve the puck with 1:12 to go in this power play. 2:40 to go in the period, and there is no score. A pass up on the left wing. Domi deflects it in over the line. In goes Bobby McMahon after it. Got it around back of the net. Cleared around the boards, though. No one over there. And it's down into the Toronto zone. 52 seconds left in the power play. Oliver Ekman-Larsson comes out. Left wing feed for Domi. Deflects it into the Florida zone. Hustling in there after it was Yarncrook. Back into the corner for Domi. Centering pass was blocked. Domi gets it back, looking to find the point, but Oliver Ekman-Larsson is able to help him out, keeping it in to Riley. Riley down into the corner. Centering pass for Bobby McMahon, and it bounced over his stick. Oliver Ekman-Larsson will keep it in. Domi in the far corner, back along the boards for Riley. Riley can't do much with it. It's shot out and down the ice again by Florida.
Well, Florida just so aggressive on the penalty kill, and Leafs unable to make the quick pass to find the open man.
This will be 0 for 9 on the power play if they don't score in the next 5 seconds. Against the Panthers at the point, kept in, back at even strength. They're Florida with 1:27 to go in the period. Into the far corner is Holmberg, back to the point, and it's offside. It was handled there by Tanev, but he kind of mishandled it, and by the time he had it under control, it was outside the blue line and brought in offside.
The Leafs have a rather substantial advantage, 7-2 in shots in the opening period, but it's been 12-5 Florida here in the second. And Mitch Marner did a pretty good job one-on-one with Sasha Barkov coming in on him. Well, the Leafs were killing the penalty, but you have to worry about the health of Matthew Nyes, don't you, that he wasn't on the number 1 power play unit for the Leafs.
Face off in the Florida zone. And Florida goaltender has been throwing shutouts at the Maple Leafs here throughout. Robertson scoring at 18:54 to end the shutout streak for Bobrovsky, but he's got a new one going here, but he's being matched shot for shot by Joseph Woll with 1:06 to go in the second period. Flipped in then by the Leafs. A bouncing puck in on Bobrovsky. Back of the net. Pontus Holmberg gets it out in front of the net, and it was nowhere near Lorenz, who ends up having the stick knocked out of his hands. Leafs have a short rush going in now for the Panthers. It comes back into the slot. Nyes unable to reach it, and it is cleared back into the Toronto zone. Riley unable to get to it. Back of the net. Panthers trying to send it back, and they do to Jones. Right point. Jones into the half boards, and a shot taken there by Verhaeghe was blocked. Kept alive by Florida. Back of the net for Tkachuk. Tkachuk can't get it out in front. When he does, it's sent wide of the net by Verhaeghe. 22 seconds in the period. Nyes out there, and then an errant pass by Florida sends the puck out at center. They've got to wait for teammates to get onside as it's cleared in with 10 seconds left in the period. Morgan Riley starting out of his own end. Slowly to center. He's going to try and get it to the red line to get it in. It's blocked, and the horn ends the period with no score on the board.
How far do we have to go back to remember a scoreless game into the third period in a playoff game for the Leafs? They're still there. Still maybe looking for that power play hero. Joseph Woll has been solid, Joe, but he hasn't had to be spectacular. The Leafs, the one thing you like, even though there's been some hiccups in their own zone, they've showed great composure, right? Chasing pucks down, the defensive coverage has been great, but they need to create a lot more at the other end of the ice than Sergei Bobrovsky.
Matthew Nyes playing, but obviously in some discomfort. And the Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers are scoreless after 40 minutes of play. The Leafs must win to force a Game 7 on Sunday night at Scotiabank Arena. Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert coming your way. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio. And the
Find out who will lift the FA Cup trophy this weekend on SiriusXM FC. Crystal Palace are 90 minutes away from their first FA Cup title.
Eze into the area, right-footed shot, slams it in.
In their path is a dangerous Manchester City side, keen on salvaging their season.
Oh, Kevin De Bruyne, that is simply sensational.
It's the FA Cup final, Palace versus City, tomorrow at 11:30 Eastern on SiriusXM FC, channel 157 in the car, and on the SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
Frederick Anderson, number one goaltender with the Canes. Congratulations on the contract extensions.
Yeah, good organization. Got high standards, and I want to push for that championship every year. And we haven't gotten to the ultimate goal, but we've been knocking on the door, and that's the perfect situation. Being on a team that's got those aspirations.
NHL Morning Skate
with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar.
Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern
on NHL Network Radio,
Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
It's our pleasure to have back on the program Coach Joel Quenneville, back behind an NHL bench next fall.
And I couldn't be more excited about the opportunity to be in Anaheim. Working with Beaker over the last couple of weeks, we're having a lot of fun. The personnel and the young kids kind of represents and reminds me of what we had in Chicago when I first went there. And we got a really young team that's going to be exciting to work with for sure.
The Power Play.
Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern
on NHL Network Radio,
Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Under review.
And stop making excuses for bad goaltending. And is it bad? Is it horrendous? If you don't win because you don't make a save or two, yeah. The nature of it is the goaltender is responsible for 90% of the action. He's got to stop the puck. Why do we keep making apologies for goaltending? Stop it.
Under review
with Mick Kern.
11 a.m. Eastern on
XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Hey, Jim Rome here. What's cracking?
Hi.
Hope you're enjoying the game. And when you're not taking in a game, find us on Sirius Channel 161, XM Channel 206. In fact, we'll be there every weekday afternoon, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you've got something you want to break down from this game, you know where to find us. Just make sure you have it taken. Don't suck.
Step your game up.
That has never changed. In fact, the show has never changed. We're just back home, and it's great to be there.
There we go. That's better. All right. 0-0. Go Leafs go. CK was fired up there in the chat with the go Leafs go and go Canada go 100 Maple Leafs. Hell yeah, let's go. Mike, weird guy on screen right now. Yes, that's me. TSI Mike. Thank God he's muted. Gotta love it. Well, cheers everybody. A big shout out to TSI Allison for making me a cocktail here while I die of these allergies. And yeah, there you go. Turn your volume up. Look at that chat flying. 0-0. Come on, Maple Leafs, let's go. We've got to get this. We have got to get the win tonight. Come on, buds, we're coming back. Who's getting the first goal? Is anybody? Are we going to overtime? 0-0. What do you think? Maybe I'll change the poll. Are we going to overtime? We'll see you back in the chat during the intermission. I'm going to go put some eye drops in or something. My God, these allergies.
To be tied after the first period, and I think they'd feel lucky to maybe be tied after the second period.
I think that's a great way to put it. The Maple Leafs dominated period one, I thought, and then I don't know if the Panthers, did more than the Leafs did in their second period compared to what the Leafs did in the first period, but at least pretty comparable. I mean, the shot attempts, like there was intent behind what the Panthers were doing. 5-on-5 shot attempts in the period, 30-5 in favor of the Florida Panthers. And that was especially true in the first half of the period. Like the Panthers definitely came out, different tone, dominated some shifts, and then power plays kind of took over in the back half, allowing the Maple Leafs to get back into the game or get back into the period. And regardless, it's 0-0 after 40 minutes with it all to play for still.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things to go through there. Power play opportunities for the Leafs. So they had a tough power play, which ended up with Matthews getting a penalty on the power play by high-sticking Ekblad. And I think they're around it, but it's just, I don't know if I'm wanting to see more urgency, more shots on net. It is 0-0. It is next goal wins territory going into the third. I'm feeling like it's a little too pretty at times. We just saw Kasperi Kapanen, score a goal from in front of the net without a stick. Like, it might be a gritty, ugly goal that gets this game winner. Not necessarily have to be on the power play, but I just mean in general, like getting in front of Bobrovsky, mucking it up in a sense. And a guy that I think is perfect for that is Matthew Nyes. And he's definitely playing hurt right now. Like, didn't really get a normal shift, I don't think. Kind of in and out, and they keep showing him on the broadcast, like laboring, leaning over. And so something's going on with him. And someone else has to pick it up and be Nyes light,
Yeah, it looked like there were about 2, maybe 3, maybe 2.5 shifts for Nyes in the first 10 minutes. And then it looked like he got more of a regular shift. Maybe with the power plays, it helped with that. About 5 shifts, I think, in the back half of the period. So it felt like he was trying to work through something. Maybe got to the point. He certainly was out there late a couple times and on those power plays. So hopefully he can stay into the game. But you mentioned the power play. It feels like the top unit is trying not to overstate its welcome. I'm looking at like sort of the spreadsheet in terms of like the usage. And Mitch Marner has 2 minutes and 25 seconds of total power play time to lead the team. They have a total of 3 minutes and 32 seconds so far. So he's been out for most of it. However, Bobby McMahon's got 1:10. Oliver Ekman-Larsson's got 1:10. Pacioretty's over a minute. Calle Yarncroke's got 55 seconds. Max Domi almost a minute. So they are going to the second unit like fairly quickly, it seems, which is a little odd. I understand like that Panthers are a bit of a threat, shorthanded. Mitch Marner maybe not caught. You don't want to have him caught out there, despite the you're using 5 forwards on the power play consciously. But all I'm saying is it feels like they don't want to overstate their welcome. They don't want to go into the 75-second range. And that can be limiting to a certain extent, and also can rush you to a certain extent. You're like, oh, we only got 50 seconds, so let's make something happen. It just feels like maybe there should be a little bit more freedom there, and it's a little intentional right now with, hey, let's just make sure we get our chances and get the second unit on there, because there's no way Bobby McMahon should have 1:10 to Mitch Marner's or even Austin Matthews 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
I mean, Bobby McMahon hasn't scored in like 20-something games at least. I don't think he's been extremely impressive. I think at this point, anyone can be the hero in this third period. Like, it doesn't have to be Matthews and Marner or Nyes or Tavares. I think Domi's looked really good. I think he's definitely taken some of the feedback maybe from Game 5 where it wasn't his best and he got some bad penalties and he got fined. Like, I think he looks like he's got it tonight. I wouldn't say that I feel like all the Leafs are popping off the paper. Haven't really seen as much as I wanted to see from Marner. He's been really quiet. Tavares, I've really been impressed with Austin Matthews.
Willie's been quiet tonight too.
Yeah. Matthews has been the most impressive core 4 member for me. He's been buzzing around. He did get a high stick and came back right in time for the power play. Didn't show a close-up of his face, so I hope it looks all right. But I just feel like he's elevated tonight.
Well, he looks mad. He looked mad after he got high stick, and he looked like
he looks pissed off out there.
Yeah, and it looked like he had some a little intent behind what he was doing.
Yeah.
Like, you want to see him a little angry, and he was mad after he got high sticked, and after I guess the officials missed the high stick from Barkov.
And then he also got a high sticky penalty.
Yeah.
Everyone just keep your sticks down.
Right? It would help. It would help, unless you want to see Maple Leafs power plays.
Yeah, true. But other than that, like, goalies are dueling it out 0-0 after 40 minutes. It might just be a 1-0 game at this point. It might be next goal wins territory. So everything's just got to be a little harder, a little more attention to detail. Like, you should be playing like your season is on the line, because it really is.
Goaltending duel, but also I haven't felt really at any point, that they're going to score there.
Yeah.
I actually haven't had that single thought run through my head through 40 minutes on either side of the equation.
How many high danger chances is it giving them?
Because the Leafs were up 9-0 after 1 in high danger
crazy.
Looks, which was fairly extreme.
Yeah, that seems like a lot. I don't remember 9.
Panthers 5-1 at evens in that period, and it ended 5-3, so a couple on the power play for the Maple Leafs. So that's somewhat representative of it, right? There's only 8 total high danger looks in the period between the two teams, and they both saw power play time.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back, get you set for the third period, scoreless after 40. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio Toronto and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Guess who just bundled their home and auto with Desjardins Insurance?
Well, look at you, all grown up and saving money.
Yes, I am.
Mom told you to do it, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Get insurance that's really big on care. Switch and you.
All right, let's see. How about that now? How's that volume? All right, let's see. How about that now? How's that volume? All right, seems to be a little bit better, so we'll leave it there, and we've got to talk about all of these amazing Super Chats tonight. Like I said earlier in the show, every single 100%, it all goes to SickKids during these Leafs hockey games, so come on, Leafs, we need to get one more goal, at least one more goal. Let's get the win. Let's send this game back to, let's send this series back to Game 7. Come on, buds. All right, I've got to talk about these Super Chats. Unbelievable support tonight. The chat, unfortunately, has to be cut up a little bit there when I switch it over, so you can't see all of them. But, man, we've got a few new members here. Welcome, Christy. Welcome, Johnny. Welcome, Karen. Welcome, Ron. And then Super Chats from Kristen. 1, 2, 3. Kristen Willoughby, thank you for the support here on Toronto Sports Insider and SickKids Hospital. What we do here, hanging out together. And there you go. Andrew Hurd just gifted 5 memberships. Haley Lim with a super chat right there. Boom. I don't even know. It just says W 30,000. That's really cool. So whatever that is, thank you for the super chat. 30,000. And as well, Kim Hickman, thank you from PEI. Much appreciated. I think you might be the only one in PEI. And then Brandy Gale, $10 super chat. Thank you, Brandy. And man, Jose Duarte, $50 super chat. Jose, wow. Thank you so much. This support is unbelievable. Every single penny will be donated to SickKids Hospital because that's what we do here. It was amazing last year in the playoffs when we were really still just a growing community at that time. 17,000 subscribers. Now we're at 102,000 and climbing. So thank you for your support. I need to pin that SickKids link. That will take you right to our Playoff Pulse homepage where you could donate directly to SickKids instead of through Super Chat like here on the stream so far. Let's get back to the hockey. Go refill those drinks. Cheers to every single one of you. Go Leafs, go! Come on, we need to get a goal, Leafs. Step it up. Let's bring that intensity. My God, I'm an old man. I'm tired. I've been working since 4:45 in the morning, and my allergies are killing me. But I'm trying to pull it all out here and get it going for the energy tonight in the third period. Let's go, buds. We'll see you in the chat. That was for everybody who was complaining about me being muted earlier.
The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio Toronto and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar, Justin Cuthbert. Only 20 minutes to play in this scoreless Game 6. Maybe extra time, but scheduled 20 ahead. Both teams with their looks. Maple Leafs dominated the first period. Florida Panthers dominated the second period. And it's kind of like a winner-takes-all third period at this moment in time.
Yeah, it feels better. But the reality is the Leafs have now scored only 1 goal in their last 9 periods of play. And the guy who scored that goal, Nick Robertson, is not playing. Scratched after the 6-1 loss in Game 5. Highlight quickly one other positive from that period. Simone Benoit absolutely burying Brad Marchand.
Oh, that was gorgeous.
With an open ice hit. And we were sort of lauding, hey, you know, the blue line looks good, right? Like, you don't want to make too many changes to the blue line next season, regardless of what happens here. But if Benoit plays at this level, and he's paired with a guy like Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who is tough and can move the puck and is a threat to score offensively, or at least a threat offensively in some ways, like, I love that third pairing if Benoit can play this way.
Yeah, it's been a great season for him. Like, I think at the beginning we were like, Benoit, Timmins.
It's been a great close to the season, that's for sure.
The end has really solidified his stake. Okay, quickly, we only have 30 seconds. NHL Scoreboard is presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Bet365 must be 18 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit ConnexOntario.ca.
Game 6, Dallas-Winnipeg tomorrow night. Winnipeg needs to win on the road finally to extend the series, and the New York Knicks are crushing the Boston Celtics in their Game 6, and the Charge are going to the final. 2-1 winners over the Montreal Victoire.
It'll be a Charge Frost final.
Indeed it will.
All right. Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph have the call. The third period next, scoreless after 40. Almost next goal wins territory. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio.
Relive the party anthems. Line dances. And cringeworthy slow songs.
You're like a dream come true, and I don't want this thing.
On Prom Radio. Find it in the SiriusXM app on your phone and at home on your computer, Alexa, TV, or other internet-connected devices. Just search Prom.
NHL Morning Skate.
Frederik Andersen, number one goaltender with the Canes. Congratulations on the contract extension.
Yeah, good organization that have high standards, and I want to push for that championship every year. And we haven't gotten to the ultimate goal, but we've been knocking on the door, and that's the perfect situation. Being on a team that's got those aspirations.
NHL Morning Skate
with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar.
Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern
on NHL Network Radio,
SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
It's our pleasure to have back on the program Coach Joel Quenneville, back behind an NHL bench next fall.
And I couldn't be more excited about the opportunity to be in Anaheim. Working with Beaker over the last couple of weeks, we're having a lot of fun. The personnel and the young kids, it kind of represents and reminds me of what we had in Chicago when I first went there. And we got a really young team that's going to be exciting to work with for sure.
The Power Play.
Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern
on NHL Network Radio,
SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
No one brings you the passion of the beautiful game quite like SiriusXM FC.
Would you believe this?
Whether it's live matches from the EPL, MLS, the NWSL, or the UEFA Champions League.
This is sensational!
Or live talk shows featuring the sport's most entertaining experts.
You don't get to say, I don't feel like making that play right now. You make the play.
It's the world of soccer at your fingertips.
How mouth-watering is that?
SiriusXM FC, channel 157 in the car, and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, scores!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Getting set for the third period. And the second period was brought to you by Desjardins Insurance. Get insurance that's really big on care at Desjardins.com/care today. Biggest period of the year. The Leafs have got to win this game to force Game 7. It is scoreless after 40 minutes of play. And goaltender Bobrovsky has gone 167 minutes and 58 seconds, giving up just one goal to a player who is not in the lineup tonight in Nick Robertson. They're at center ice, and the puck is dropped, and we're underway as Marner carries to the line, had to go off a shin pad, and the Panthers have it again, and they're launching it high down into the Toronto zone. McCabe playing it up on the left wing. That deflects ahead to Matthews. Right wing side for Tanev. Tanev plays it in over the line. Took a hit there from Nico Mikkola. And the Panthers play it off the boards. Cut off by Matthews, who is tripped right in front of the official, and he missed that. The high stick, the trip, lots of things going by the board here tonight. Played around back of the net. Tanev reverses it again for McCabe. McCabe will get it up on the wing, and it is Willie Nylander turning. His pass ahead, pushed ahead by Pontus Holmberg. Nylander gets it in a little further and down back of the net. Tavares chasing but won't catch up to it. Kept in by Holmberg. He plays it around back of the goal. Panthers are there. Ekblad steps out and gets it up on the right wing with speed. Played in over the line then by Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe reverses the puck into the corner. Marchand sends it to the net off a skate. Comes back to the point. Panthers with another shot. Blockered away. Wall seemed to stumble there, but is okay, I believe. Leafs bring it out now with Tavares playing it off the boards and into the Florida zone. He won't get there in time to create any kind of forecheck. Both teams are changing on the go. Panthers to the right and the Leafs to the left. Cleared by Bennett down into the Toronto end. Along the boards, Oliver Ekman-Larsson to the far side. Panthers send it back behind the net for Tkachuk. Taken out of the play by Benoit. Puck along the boards for Bennett. Bennett gets it in deeper around back of the net. Tkachuk trying to come out with it, drops it off. Verhaeghe gets it back to the point. Shot coming in traffic. That's off the mark wide. Leafs get it up on the wing, and it's going to be bunted out at center ice and then played off a stick in over the line. McMahon has it knocked off his stick, and the Panthers have it again. Up on the left wing is Verhaeghe. Verhaeghe trying to drive, goes into the corner. Ridden off the play nicely there by Calle Yarncrook, but the Leaf defenseman gets tackled, and then it's played back down into the far corner. Panthers after it again. Mikkola got it into the zone, but the Leafs are able to get it out. Down on the wing and a pass into the slot area, and a shot by Tanev. Went wide of the goal. It was a great rush. It just was in the wrong set of hands. Centering pass comes into the slot. Cleared off the glass and down the ice by Florida.
Boy, Chris Tanev gets some room. Scott Laughton with a great pass over the line, pulls up, delays, and Chris Tanev was able to skate to open ice in the high slot and take it to the net, trying to go far side of Bobrovsky. A nice little play by Scotty Laughton. And yeah, this missed by about 4 feet. Blocker side of Bobrovsky.
Get the blocker on it?
No,
Maybe not.
I think he missed it.
Giving Chris Tanev the benefit of the doubt.
Well, I do remember him sniping one past Vasilevsky in Florida coming off that point.
Draw one by the Leafs and a point shot. Doesn't make it through. Marner hands it off on the wing. One of the Panthers has lost the stick. It goes down into the corner. Marner unable to get to it. Knives back to the blue line. Sped it in then by Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Panthers get it quickly back out again. And here's Bennett working to the line and in over the line. Bennett plays it off the boards and down into the near corner. Leafs are first there with Morgan Rielly. Rielly plays it up on the wing, but Marner couldn't get it out for him. Kept in by the Panthers. Boquist into the corner. Cut off there by Carlo and brought by Matthews to center, but Matthew Nyes couldn't carry it into the zone for him. Panthers break it back. Barkov up on the wing. Forsling gets it the rest of the way into the zone. Out of the net wall. Leafs Tavares back of the goal. Round on the far side, Pontus Holmberg got it to the line, but out of midair, it was swatted to the Leaf net. And now the Leafs break it out with Tavares. Tavares up on the left wing, Pontus Holmberg driving around, got a shot away that was blockered into the corner nicely there by the goaltender as it comes back to the point. Tanev on the right point, goes to the defenseman. Comes to Nylander. Nylander working down on the far half wall. Works into the corner. Still with it. Back of the net. Stops up there. Still with it. Goes around back of the goal. Couldn't get it in front. Still has it as he comes back to the point to Tanev. Tanev's wrist shot is off the mark wide. Tavares after the puck and getting it around back of the net. Holmberg can't get to it as he was interfered with. And now it is brought to center ice by the Panthers and cleared to the Toronto blue line. Good shift, though, by the Maple Leafs. Brought back now by Carlo. Carlo backhands high into the far corner. Domi after it there, and missing his man was Bobby McMahon. Puck comes back out at center ice for Anton Lundell, and he'll get it down in on goal, and Wall clears into the corner. Leafs play it up the boards and around to the far side. McMahon carries back to send it back into an empty corner that Carlo will reach. The long reach of his stick, able to get it out, and off a stick down into Florida territory. Bobrovsky finds Brad Marchand. He'll drop it back for Schmidt, and Nate Schmidt now gets organized as the teams are changing. We are just at the 5-minute mark of the third period. No score. Bennett in on the left wing. Bennett trying to drop it back. The puck into the corner, knocked by Verhaeghe to the far wing. Shot taken from an angle, goes wide. Leafs are able to come out with it, and it is launched high to center ice. Trying to get to it was Pontus Holmberg, was hauled down. Oh, my! Here the Panthers, though, counterattacking it over the line with a shot, and that was blocked. How is that not a penalty? Back around, back of the net it goes. Panthers with it again. Playing it in around back of the net, cut off there by Tanev. Tanev playing it up on the wing, and the Leafs get it out to the line and on the near wing, but don't get it out of the zone. Shot is stopped by Wall. Centering effort around to the far side. Panthers with it again. Looking to try and work in front with a shot, and that went wide. Rebound Caroms to the near point, but is kept in. Leafs hemmed in their own zone again. Yarncrook couldn't come up with it. Now he does, and just gets it out into the Florida end of the rink.
I don't know how that's not called. I mean, it's a breakaway, if not, for being hauled down.
Forsling starts back. Jean Hebert and Graham Rank, the referees. A shot scores! Holy mackerel, how did that happen? Off the rush. Matthews comes in, and now the Leafs have grabbed the lead.
A nothing play that Mitch Marner ends up with a puck on his stick right in front of the Florida bench and throws it to Matthews. Boy, this is just an inadvertent clearing attempt, and then Austin Matthews darts into the zone on the pass from Marner, and a little toe drag snap goes through the 5-hole of Sergei Bobrovsky. And with 13:40 to go in the third period, the Leafs have opened the scoring.
Get a big goal. Awful nice to be able to call it, and I'm staring at something else. Sweet. Marion Joseph. The Leafs with a 1-0 lead on a goal from Austin Matthews. Mitch Marner setting it up. Third of the playoffs for Matthews. And the Leafs have the opening goal of the game. It comes at 6:20 of the period. Puck down in the Toronto zone. Back of the net trying to work it out is Sam Reinhart. He was bowled over. Puck goes back to the point, though. Panthers with a wrist shot in traffic, blocked wide. Good play made there by the Leafs on the boards. Carlo able to lift the stick of the Panthers and get it out into neutral ice. Pontus Holmberg unable to move with it. Panthers back in their own zone, and they'll organize back there with 12:55 to go in the third period. The Leafs have opened the scoring on a goal by Austin Matthews. Shot in wide of the net. Wall is out of the cage to pound it around on the boards, and it'll be tipped to the line and out. Nylander can't get to it. Panthers back at their own blue line with Schmidt. Getting it in on the left wing and in over the line with Lundell. A shot that deflected wide of the Leaf goal, and now it's brought by Benoit and carried to center ice with a couple of nifty moves. Gets it in on the right side for Tavares. Tavares shooting. Blocker save made by Bobrovsky. Another shot is blocked, and it's carrying all the way down into the Toronto end.
Well, what a rush by Simon Benoit, setting up John Tavares for a strike.
Down into the Florida zone it goes. Bennett unable to come up with it. Chopped out at center ice by Florida. Recovered by Toronto. McCabe off the boards and chipped off the wall to center, and the Leafs are going to get it the rest of the way into the zone. Bobby McMahon going in there after it with a hit. It comes free to Domi! Crashing into the net, Bobrovsky. Oh, his helmet was knocked off. He may have to go to the quiet room. What do you think?
Well, Max Domi went slamming into him. I don't know if there was a penalty going to be called on that play. But Domi got tripped trying to take it to the net, went into Bobrovsky, and Domi is laboring getting up. And I wouldn't imagine if there was no penalty on the breakaway where Leaf was hauled down. I doubt we're going to get one here. But Max Domi found a seam, took it to the net, and was hauled down. I mean, looked like a bit of a trip, didn't it?
Yeah. Then he got drilled, and then Bobrovsky got drilled.
Yeah, it was Ekblad that drilled Domi into Bobrovsky.
The Leafs are on the board. Matthews from Marner at 6:20. And the Maple Leafs have a 1-0 lead. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio.
The drama builds.
Cheers, hockey fans, Maple Leafs fans. I'm sure there's some Panthers fans here in the chat. The game is being played in Sunrise, Florida, but where are you watching from? I am here in Chicago. I'm a transplant fan, as I'm sure a lot of you. Here in the chat, let us know in the chat where you're watching from, city and province, in the chat with that awesome Canada flag next to it. Or city and state, if you're from the United States. City and country. Let's see where the world is gathering from here on TSI tonight, while our Maple Leafs are just holding on to whatever life we have left. We've got to cheer them on loud. Thank you for getting the chat going and letting us know where you're watching from all over the world. If you haven't clicked our live viewer map on our website, the link is in the description. Check it out, live viewers tab. You can see where everyone in the world is watching from. Now let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go! Come on, buds! Let's get this going! We gotta get the win tonight! Let's go!
The world's most thrilling league is now in the palm of your hand. Hear every English Premier League match all season long on the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favourite team.
5-1 lead! On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner combining on a turnover at the Florida blue line to open the scoring in this Game 6. 1-0 Leafs. And a huge collision, and Bobrovsky seems to be all right. Panthers around back of the goal, playing it off the boards out at center. Shot right back in again by Toronto. Cleared up on the wing by Jones. This has gone by everyone, but it's not icing. Wall is out of the cage to get it to his defenseman, and out at center it's played. And Nyes gets to Matthews, who chips it into the zone. Nyes trying to get in on the forecheck against Jones. Along the boards, Matthews broke it up. Cleared out at center, though, and here the Panthers in over the line. Barkov going hard to the net, and he couldn't get there as the stick.
Oh.
You're kidding.
Now we got a penalty the other way. Boy, with what they've let go to this point here in the third period, and they're going to call a hook on Brandon Carlo.
Toronto penalty number 25, 2 minutes hooking.
Well, so much for putting the whistles away.
No. Fourth power play opportunity for the Florida Panthers. And the penalty kill brought to you by Ontario Honda dealers. Get home ice advantage on every drive with the new Civic Hybrid. Proudly built here in Ontario. Visit your Ontario Honda dealers today.
When Brandon Carlo's arguing, he had one hand on the stick, and Barkov did a pretty good job once he fell clamping onto it. But when you let the other one go on a partial breakaway.
Yep. Draw to the right in the Toronto zone. Won by the Maple Leafs. Against the boards, Tanev and McCabe get it to Marner, and Marner rims it around the boards, and down the ice it'll go. Seth Jones going back to it. Jones dropping it off. Barkov gets to center and to the line and in now for Tkachuk. Tkachuk has the puck up against the board, stolen, and it is Yarncrook who sends it the rest of the way down the ice. Leaf fan applauding the officials there at the side of the rink. Brought on now by Florida. Played up on the right wing side and into the corner. Stolen back by Toronto. Down the ice it goes again. So far so good with 1:14 to go in the power play for Florida. Half of the third period almost in the books. Shot in by Florida. Marchand goes into the corner after it. Can't come up with it. Puck goes in back of the Toronto goal. Steered back to the blue line. Schmidt into the slot area. Bennett lost it. Leafs get it ahead. And Yarncrook will play it off the far boards, and down the ice it goes again. 44 seconds left now in the power play for Florida. Schmidt trying to work out on the left wing. Goes across ice and then drops it back, and Bennett will carry it over the line. Chopped off his stick. Stolen back by the Leafs. Out and down the ice again. Great job being done here by the Leaf penalty killers as they have faced the power play 4 times. 24 seconds left in the fourth one now. Shot into the Toronto zone by Lundell. Back of the net. It comes out and down the ice again. That time the Panthers helped out, trying to get it back to the point. 10 seconds left in this power play. Forsling trying to get it in over the line, and now they'll stretch it out, and this power play is going to expire before they get to center ice. Out of the box comes Carlo. Shot into the Toronto end. Down the boards to the far side. Marner comes away with it. Skates around back of the net. Flips it up on the wing, and it'll get to the line, but not out. Marner pays a price by taking a hit there from Nosek, but it is on the boards and out at center ice. Leafs trying to get to it. Tripped up there was a Leaf player, but no call. Mikkola is back in his own zone.
Too much to ask for an even up call now?
No, the whistles will be put away now, Jimmy. It's way too important. Call a penalty, I would suggest. Back in over the line now for Florida. Working along the boards, a long shot goes wide of the Leaf goal. Tanev has to get back to it to get it to Jake McCabe. McCabe sends it back to Tanev, and Tanev gets it airmailed high to center ice. Bounced over Willie Nylander's stick. Cleared back into the center ice area, and the Panthers are right back in over the line. Except the Leafs have taken it away from them once again. Played off the boards to center. Nylander deflects it down into the Florida end. 8 minutes and 7 seconds to go, third period. 1-0 Toronto. Puck out at center ice. Blocked by the Leafs, but then carried on by Florida and over the line. Bennett to the front of the net, a shot. Big save by Joey Wall. Maybe his first big save of the game. The Leafs have been that good defensively. Here's Domi just getting it down into Florida territory. Pacioretty back of the net, tried to get it in front. Domi had it knocked away, and it's played to center ice. Leafs defense had to evacuate there to make sure it didn't result in an odd man rush, and now it is an offside at the Toronto blue line.
You're right, though. The Leafs, this is by far, as we get to this point, 7:34 to go here in the third period, their best defensive performance of the postseason.
1-0 Toronto. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Want to get in on the action for the Stanley Cup playoffs? At Bet365, we've got you. From game props, player props, totals, and the money line. You can even bet on futures like series winners, conference champions, the Stanley Cup champions, and much, much more. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet.
We are passing 102,000 subscribers / insiders here on TSI tonight during the Leafs game. What a journey it has been. The plaque is on its way. The good news? It's going to be here before the kids get out of school. The bad news? It's not going to be here before the end of this series. Our Maple Leafs need to get the win tonight. Come on, Leafs fans in the chat. Let's get that chant going. Go, Leafs, go! Thank you for being here. If you're new, hit that subscribe button and help us continue to grow this amazing community that we have here. We're live for every single game of the playoff pulse in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. Every single game. And oh yeah, all 82 Leafs games, all Blue Jays games, all TFC games. You get the point. Thanks for being here. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you back in the chat.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
7.5 hard miles to go. The Leafs with a 1-0 lead. On a goal from Austin Matthews, set up by Marner. Leafs with the puck in their own zone, get it ahead, and Nylander chips it down into the offensive end. Holmberg up against the end boards, can't come up with it. Panthers are able to break out. They'll get to center, but stolen. Here's Tavares working down the right wing boards, trying to drag it to the front, and his backhand is caught by Bobrovsky, but a good effort. There from Johnny Toronto to drive the net.
Marchand picked it up.
6:32. I don't know as they have put a start time, so we're assuming 7 o'clock. 7:30. All right, Armin Zagarian says 7:30. Then it must be 7:30. Austin Mackey running the operation here for us as well. Puck down in the Florida zone. Trying to get to it there was Yarncrook. Back and behind the net. Lawton chases after it. Panthers get it out at center and on the left wing for Tkachuk. Tkachuk in trying to get around the defense. Had it knocked down. Leafs play it off the boards and out at center. Panthers back after it again. Up on the left wing and in over the line for Schmidt. That was close to being offside as a long shot went wide. Leafs corral. Get it out at center. Brought to the line and in hard to the net is Pacioretty. Scores! Max Pacioretty pounds it home on a deflection on a great play to the front of the net. The Leafs lead 2-0.
Bobby McMahon with a great burst of speed to get to the puck on the left wing side. In the Leafs zone, it all starts Max Domi. Chips it out. And Bobby McMahon takes off on the left wing side. Pacioretty goes to the front of the net, and it's a saucer pass out front that is knocked in on the backhand by Max Pacioretty, who ended the Ottawa series with a game-winning goal in Game 6. Is this enough insurance to force Game 7 against Florida?
What a huge goal for Max Pacioretty, set up by Bobby McMahon. Pacioretty's third of the postseason. And the Maple Leafs, trying to come up off the mortician slab, have got a 2-0 lead. Boquist shoots it down into the Toronto zone. On the boards now is Ekman-Larsson getting it up on the wing. It'll come to the line, but not out. A long shot is swallowed up by Wall, and he will hold for a face-off in the Toronto zone. What an enormous goal that is from Max Pacioretty.
And I'm blessed with the greatest speed in the game, but boy, did he get to the front of the net in behind the defense to just chip that backhander into the right arm of Bobrovsky.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio. And
stay plugged into the pulse of pop culture on the SiriusXM app. From exclusive interviews with today's biggest celebrities.
Demi Moore.
That's Lizzo.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Snoop Dogg.
You know
how much I love you, Andy. Unfiltered takes on what's trending from hosts like Alex Cooper and Andy Cohen.
What is up, Daddy Gang?
Hey, everybody. We are live. Plus, daily reality TV recaps, star-studded podcasts, and more.
Salma Hayek. Only Kelly Ripa can ask me these questions.
Keep up with all the latest entertainment buzz in one place. Just search pop culture in the SiriusXM app.
Under review.
And stop making excuses for bad goaltending. And is it bad? Is it horrendous? If you don't win because you don't make a save or two, yeah. The nature of it is the goaltender is responsible for 90% of the action. He's got to stop the puck. Why do we keep making apologies for goaltendings? Stop it.
Under review with Mick Kern. 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
No one brings you the passion of the beautiful game quite like SiriusXM FC.
Would you believe this?
Whether it's live matches from the EPL, MLS, the NWSL, or the UEFA Champions League.
This is sensational!
Or live talk shows featuring the sport's most entertaining experts.
You don't get to say, I don't feel like making that play right now. You make the play.
It's the world of soccer at your fingertips.
How mouth-watering is that?
SiriusXM FC, channel 157 in the car, and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM. On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Max Pacioretty scoring the biggest goal he has scored for the Toronto Maple Leafs to give them a 2-0 lead. Domi draws an additional assist on the goal. Marner against the boards on the near side, got it to the line and flipped to center ice. 5:16 to play in the third period. Mikkola back in his own zone. Panthers start out with it. Shots favor Florida 18-17. Play bogs down at the Toronto blue line. Leaf player trying to get his stick. Who was that? That was Jake McCabe, and now with the stick in his hand, he finds Chris Tanev with it and is able to get it out into the center ice area.
We saw Lawton taking a shift now with Matthews and Marner.
Nyes has played, but not every shift. Played down into the Toronto zone. Into the near corner it goes for McMahon. McMahon bodies there. The puck goes back of the net. Played around the boards to the point, but kept in by Florida. Round back of the goal is coming to the near side. Domi unable to get to it, but now does, and is able to chip it out into the center ice area. Pacioretty unable to reach it. Cleared high to center for Bennett. Bennett gets it to the line, but can't get into the zone. Panthers back in neutral ice. Shot in with 4:12 to play in the third period. Down the boards it goes for Oliver Ekman-Larsson to Pacioretty. Airmailed high to center ice. Won't have enough to go for icing. And the Panthers have to go back to recover the puck. Under 4 minutes to play. Leafs 2. Florida no score. Trying to force a game 7. Shot right back down into the Toronto end. Wall slowed it up, but not enough to trap it back of the goal. Panthers with it down along the boards to the blue line. Chipped by Tavares to the line, and out it comes. Panthers have it under control, though, back at their own blue line. 3:36 to play. Come on, clock, move. Back down into the Florida zone it goes.
You got to think Bobrovsky's heading to the bench soon.
I would think. Kulikov with it back of the Florida net. Bobrovsky looking at the bench. Kulikov starting out with it. Up on the right side it goes and into the Toronto end. Played around the boards for Brandon Carlo. He and Matthews after it. Got it up on the wing. Unable to reach it was Marner. Back now the net is empty and they have 6 attackers on. Puck is pinned up against the boards. Back of the Toronto goal. Doing a good job there was Benoit. It comes free to the far side. Lawton couldn't get to it. Matthews does, but his weak backhand didn't clear. Shot coming, stopped by Wall. Rebound side of the goal, knocked away. Cleared into the corner and back to the point. Panthers keeping it in, 2:45. Pass intercepted. The Leafs are going to get it out and down the ice. Way wide of the goal, but an icing call nonetheless.
Well, you would hate to have seen that backfire as Austin Matthews, who right now has the winning goal of this game on a stick. Had a little bit of time, tried to backhand it. I think he was trying to hit Mitch Marner, but missed him and went right back to the left point. And Florida got a great scoring chance out of it. Puck was redirected right in front of Joseph Wall. Shots on goal here in the third period, Joe, have just been 4 apiece. Leafs have scored on 2 of them.
Draw won by the Maple Leafs, back of the goal. Benoit chipping it to the line, but it won't clear. He gets another opportunity with it to Matthews, and this time Matthews gets it high and not far, but out at center ice nonetheless. 2:22 left to play in the third. Into the slot area for Jones. A shot goes deflecting wide of the net. Marner has it on the left wing boards and gets it ahead. Trying to chip it ahead was Nyes, or at least Holmberg, I'm sorry, but he couldn't get by the last defender. Here is Barkov to the line and in on the left wing. Sends it into the corner. Knocked back in along the boards for Verhaeghe. The puck around back of the net goes to the far point. Trapped there by Florida. They maintain possession. Shot swallowed up by Wall. And it is held for a face-off with 1:48 left to go in the third period. Leafs 2, Panthers no score.
Well, we talked about after that Matthews turnover, it was Carter Verhaeghe had the great chance on the rebound, and I think Chris Tanev got a shin pad on it.
And it went off the side of the goal, right?
Yeah, we've got a timeout here. By the way, that's the first time in this playoffs that the Florida Panthers have entered the third period tied. Leafs are 1-1 in the 2 games. They entered the third tied in the Ottawa series. 1:48 to go, and now everything has added importance, including this face-off for the Leafs.
Matthews opened the scoring in the third period at 6:20. And then at 14:17, McMahon got the puck to Max Pacioretty, who jammed it home for a 2-0 Toronto advantage and a little bit of breathing room here in Game 6 with 1:48 to play in the third period. Teams have completed their timeout.
And Bobby McMahon, you go back to the regular season, he hasn't scored since the Leafs played in March against Philadelphia. Hasn't scored on the road since they played the New York Rangers March 20th. But boy, what a huge assist that was.
Draw in the Toronto zone to the left of Wall. And the draw is scrummed. It goes into the corner. Leafs get it back to the net. Punched around the boards for Marner. Marner against the boards. Couldn't come up with it. Jake McCabe gets it back for Tanev. Tanev launches it on a bounce, but it was out over the line, and it is whistled down offside.
Seth Jones is arguing with the official.
So the faceoff comes outside the Toronto zone with 1:34 to go.
Even if you were right in the argument on a play like that, doesn't matter much, right? If the whistle's already gone. Paul Maurice showing some concern on the Florida bench. Leafs still have work to do.
Panthers shoot it into the Toronto zone. Tanev against the boards on the near side, scrums it up. Here's Barkov getting it in front of the net. A shot is blocked. The rebound comes back to the blue line. Kept alive now for Bennett. A shot blocked. Rebound goes knocking wide. It comes to the line and out at center ice. 12 to go. Jones shooting it back in again. Wall let it go around the boards to Matthews. Matthews couldn't clear, centering pass. Blockered into the corner by Wall. Minute to go on the near boards for Marner. Got it out at center ice. Big clear there by Mitchell Marner. Jones with it again. To the red line. Shot back into the Toronto end. Brandon Carlo against the boards. Trying to pin it there for all he's worth. Got it loose, but it's Marchand getting it back to the point. Jones with a shot. Blocked. Another shot. Blocked. Another shot in front of the net. Cleared into the corner. 34 seconds left. Another shot blocked. Cleared by the Leafs to the line, but not out. Barkov sends it into the corner. Centered in front. Knocked away from Wall. It comes free. Leafs are going to get it high to center ice. Knocked in over the line by Pontus Holmberg. 18 seconds left. Marchand into the slot. Carlo knocked it away. 12 seconds left. Leafs with the puck. Chance to clear. They'll get it out. They were on the mortician slab, but as Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein would say, he's alive. He's alive. He'll fight another day. We get Tkachuk into a pushing and shoving session now.
And Marchand sniffing around as well, but at least get to the dressing room, get on the plane, come home and get ready for Game 7. As Joseph Wall, you'll remember last year, Game 6 against the Boston Bruins, came a second away from his first NHL playoff shutout. But he gets it here in a huge moment where he had to be perfect in a 2-0 Toronto win, and you couldn't write a better script, could you? Leafs get the win. Matthews scores a winning goal for Mitch Marner. And you called it, I think you said it during one of the intermissions or commercial breaks, that the goal that wins it is going to be an ugly one. And that's not a great goal for Sergei Bobrovsky to give up 5-hole on a shot coming off the wing. But it was ugly enough to be a winner. And the Leafs, if they're able to get through this series, you're going to hear a lot of players saying nobody believed in us, but we believed in ourselves. And they're probably going to be right if they can do it. But certainly their best defensive effort. And, you know, we can talk about this series. We can talk about this playoff. This might be their best playoff effort in the 7-8 year run that this group has had.
What was the best save Joe Wall made?
Well, it was off Boquist, right? A right pad save.
But how many were it?
Yeah, I would say that was the one.
Yeah, exactly. That was how well defensively the Leafs played in front of them. Just 7 shots allowed in the third period. The Leafs scored twice on Sergei Bobrovsky in the series. Well, pack your passports, boys. You're coming back to Canada, so hopefully you'll enjoy the.
Yeah, we're taking a look, by the way, of Austin Matthews. You can see a cut right under his right eye. We saw him take a Barkov stick right off a face-off.
It's not a cut as much as it's an abrasion, I think. Eh?
Yeah, so, but that was a little too close.
All right, well, 3 stars brought to you by Desjardins Insurance. Get insurance that's really big on care at desjardins.com/care today.
Well, we are going to say star number 3, Joseph Wall, but it's going to really represent the entire defense corps, Joe, who were outstanding, blocking shots, clearing pucks. The Leafs showed great patience all night and were great. So Joseph Wall really represents the 6 guys in front of him that played defense tonight. Star number 2, Max Pacioretty's got the series-winning goal against Ottawa in the first round. A huge goal that gave the Leafs a little bit of breathing room, although it didn't feel like it, did it? Even with Bobrovsky on the bench for the final 2 minutes. And Austin Matthews scores in the second round of the playoffs. He had not scored since Game 6 against the Ottawa Senators. A lot of talk, a lot of noise about him and Mitch Marner needing to come up big in this game. Matthews scores an assist from Mitch Marner, and that is a game winner.
Sometimes it's not how many, but how important. And this was about as important as it's going to get. So that means there is a Game 7, 7:30 Sunday night. And I know that it will be, well, quite an evening. And you know what? The fans were completely
within their rights.
Within their rights of what they did. I'm never really too excited about the jersey throwing on the ice. I understand that. But these things do happen. But this team has shown a great deal of character to fight through this tonight and force Game 7. And here's the other thing. The Leafs ended up winning this series. They get home ice advantage in the next round, too, because they had more points than the Carolina Hurricanes.
Well,
so
let's make sure they take advantage of home ice advantage on Sunday. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, we will be there. We hope that you will join us. Until then, we are...
one more thing I wanted to say. When you talk about the Leafs numbers and elimination games and everything else, let's not forget the Florida Panthers last year had a 3-0 lead over the Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals. And Edmonton clawed their way back to a Game 7. So it's hard not to feel like Florida is unbeatable because, you see when they're on their game, they're so hard to play against. But there is a little bit of history there that they're not perfect either.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Jimmy and I will be there at Scotiabank Arena on Sunday night. We trust that you will join us. Ailish Farfar is coming along with Justin Cuthbert. Final score, the Leafs 2, the Florida Panthers 0. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Toronto and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
You've been listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network. There's a Molson with your name on it. Sports.
Oh yeah, insiders. 2-0 Maple Leafs. We got the win, and we're going back to Toronto on Sunday night. 82% of you said yes, you'll be back here hanging out with us on Sunday night when our Leafs are hosting the Panthers. There's Dr. Dupree in the chat with the super chat. I love it. Thank you, Dr. Dupree, and thank you to all the super chats tonight. 100% going to SickKids Hospital. These Leafs playoff games have been on fire, and this playoff pulse campaign has been absolutely crazy. It saw us passing over 100,000 subscribers, and the plaque's on its way. I got to update it, see if the day is going to update here, but I think it's going to come on the 20th. But our Leafs did what they had to do. I really want to bring this plaque on during a Leafs game. I really do. I don't know. I even know how big it is. I don't know what this. I don't even know. But thank you all for being here. Dr. Dupree, Mr. Weskers, Dagger Cards, Don D, Andrew Hurd, Robert Cairns, Lim, GG's, Pablo. There you go. You got my sub. Hey, thanks, Pablo. Glad you're here. Jim, Pike, Brandy, Player, Peter, Pale. Thank you all for being here. And Kristen Willoughby, welcome to VIP. We are just about to actually do a whole overhaul on the memberships. We're going to be adding an additional membership and changing things up so that we can really get this locked down. Now that we've got this 100,000 out of the way, and we're already, 102,219. Let's get to the post game. I just have to say, I am extremely disappointed in the pre-game announcers today before this game. I know there was not a lot of optimism in the air, but my God, we are Leafs fans. Have some freaking faith. I know that it has not proven us well in the past. I understand that. But, man, I got to say, I was disgusted listening to that pregame show, and I could see the chat was as well. Because we have faith. We believe. And we're believing all the way to Sunday night at Scotiabank Arena. Thank you, insiders, for hanging out with us. I will let the postgame run until my buddy Frank Trachtenberg comes on. Thank you, Johnny Blazy, for that one there with the comment. The place to be for sports. Appreciate that. leave your comments on our past videos. Those comments are huge in helping push out lives in the future as well. Go Leafs, go. Go Canada, go. Go SickKids, go. Go Insiders, go. You guys are awesome. And gals. Keeping it fire all night long in the chat. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you. And good night. Let's listen to post-game and have dreams about, or nightmares about Game 7. But maybe it's different this time, Leafs fans. Maybe we got a 50-50 chance. Flip a coin, baby. We'll be here on Sunday night. Go Leafs, go.
Matthews comes in, and now the Leafs have grabbed the lead.
Welcome to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs did it. They dragged them back to almost to Florida, to Toronto. It will be a Game 7, never in doubt. Austin Matthews with the goal to give the Maple Leafs the opportunity to put them back in the win column, and Pacioretty with the insurance goal.
Yeah, it felt like it was only going to happen one way, and that was the guy everyone talked about needing to score, actually scoring. A massive moment for the career of Austin Matthews, a massive goal for the Toronto Maple Leafs on this playoff run. We'll see where it takes them. We know one more destination, Game 7 in Toronto.
One last look at the NHL scoreboard presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit ConnexOntario.ca.
Game 7 tomorrow. Game 6, tomorrow. Winnipeg and Dallas. From Big D, Ottawa Charge going to the finals for the PWHL against the Minnesota Frost with a victory over the Montreal Victoire. And the Knicks beating up on the Celtics tonight. They'll go to the Eastern Conference Final in the NBA.
All right, I don't have an answer to this next statement. Our next Molson Leafs hockey broadcast will be either round 3 or next year. So enjoy Sunday night.
Big stakes on Sunday night.
That's right. Leafs Talk with JD Bunkis, Justin Bourne, and Sam McKee is next. Thanks for listening to Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
They're alive. Leafs Talk. JD Bunkis, Sam McKee, Justin Bourne. You can follow this podcast on Apple or Spotify. Follow the boys on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkis, at Sammy McKee, at JT Bourne. The Leafs pull it out. The captain comes through. Pacioretty continues to be clutch, and Joel Wool gets a shutout. Justin Bourne, what did you think of this win tonight?
It's just, I'd love to say I didn't see it coming, but I think a lot of us kind of saw a good performance coming from the Leafs, and
this was the Leafiest outcome.
It was a super Leafy outcome in that they were awesome. The textbook defensive game and their structure, didn't give up a ton. The goalie solid. We saw some dominant lines or shifts from the top line. Godwin from Matthews. It was like, that's kind of what we expect to see at their best in the big games. So, nothing but full marks for the Leafs.
Can they play Game 7 on the road? Is that a potential? Is that a possibility?
Can you just concede it?
Just be like,
yeah, listen, we'll stay here.
We don't need to come back to Toronto. We'll just play this Sunday night. We'll stay here. We'll play this game in this building again, because it's a different squad of men tonight than it was on Game 5, and is followed a very similar script to the Ottawa series with the absolutely brutal Game 5 performance that made us all pissed off in the first round. And then they go and they have a good road effort where they end up winning late. Max Pacioretty scores a crucial goal in that game as well. It's a very, very similar sort of recipe.
And we're heading back to the first goal in that one too.
Yeah. And we're heading back to Toronto for a Game 7 in the second round. By the way, fellas, this era of Leafs hockey never lost a Game 7 in the second round. So they are perfect record so far.
Clean slate.
Perfect record in Game 7s in the second round. So like I've always said, never had any doubt in these guys in this game. Always thought they were going to come through. Never doubted for 1 second. So congrats to them.
Yeah, I wondered if they maybe made it so tough in Game 5 because they just wanted to bump up the win column in the elimination game stat, which has been awful for these guys. Hey, they got to win. At least they're going to break even in this series on elimination games. So congrats to Leafs on that. honest to God, though, this is the leafiest stuff ever, right? Like, this is just, I got to admit, I'm excited about the win. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But it adds a layer of frustration to what we saw in Game 5, because everything we've been saying about the top line and what they've needed to do, they can do it. Like, it is in them to give. And yet, for whatever reason, it takes until Game 6 of this series for it to turn. And yeah, they had some moments in the first couple of games. The whole team was very good. But in terms of these last 3 games, that was completely absent from those 2 players. Yeah. And tonight, without Matthew Knies basically healthy for what, 80% of the game, 90% of the game. When did the OEL hit?
He might feel worse next game.
Oh yeah. I that's a conversation for later in the show, but like we got to start with the guys that we killed in the last contest, but it's hard not to feel a little torn, because you go, hey, who are you? Somebody like people will accuse this show of being bipolar. And all I can say to that is it's because of the team that we cover.
Yeah. Yeah. Is this like viewing everything through results where it's like, one goes through Bobrovsky's legs. So now everything they did was good in the game. And the other games when none went in, everything they did was bad in those games. Like they weren't that much better than they've been. Just like a puck went in for them tonight. They had a couple better shifts. Otherwise,
I thought you didn't think that the first line was much better than this game than they were in the last game, though.
So Game 5 and Game 6 in this series, totally bunk. They were trash last game. They were good tonight. Totally.
That's what I'm comparing it to here.
Okay. And I just mean generally when we talk about like these guys in these sort of games, like one goes in and they win. So it's like everything they did was good. They've had lots of losses where they've played pretty well and it just haven't had that one,
Yes.
The margins are very thin at this time of year for star players. And it's a nothing absolute slog fest. And Marner makes a great play, picking the puck off, gets it to Matthews. And let's be frank, boys, it's a total softie. It's an absolute softie by Bobrovsky. Like, it's a good shot from wherever, but it's an unscreened shot on the ice from the top of the circle that goes in. But listen, you'll take it. He hasn't been able to get the good ones to go. He hasn't been able to get anything to go. And for him to even have a clean look at the net that it feels like he hasn't had, to get the wrister off and have it go 5-hole, have it go to the back of the net. I mean, it's just, there's no comparison or no question. I think, did you tweet that was the biggest goal of his career? Obviously the biggest goal of his career. The first one that against the Florida Panthers in the second round of the playoffs, it's a huge moment for the captain who has taken a beating from everybody. And like, listen, like, we're not the only ones who have done it, boys. Listen, it's
been deserved.
Of course. That's what I mean. And
you sent me a stat today. He's the first player out of 101 guys with what's the stat? You got it, right?
Let me find it quick. I'll pull it up here.
Stat all I'll say is these. I just want to push back a bit on the softy talk. It's pretty good play. Like he pulls it in, changes angle, gets it through the D. There's some pace on it. It's not. You're right, Sammy. It's not like you pitched a top corner, but it's not. The worst.
So I would like to push back on all of the pushback, because to me the process was totally different tonight from him. I thought that Matthews, about what I wrote it down in my notes. They came out kind of slow. Their first 2 shifts, I thought that Florida had way more possession. I thought that Toronto kind of looked a little bit like everything we'd seen in Game 5. And then all of a sudden, the penalties started to rack up. And they killed 2 penalties early on in this hockey game. And then there's a shift right after the second penalty kill. By the way, like, if we're doing biggest storylines of this game, penalty killing 4 penalties is like, it's right below Matthews. The only reason is that these guys have absorbed all the noise. But if you want to point to like, hey, why did they win? It's that they were able to ultimately, I guess, win the special teams battle because they don't score a power play goal, but they only got 2 to Florida's 4. But they came out like a house on fire after those penalties. And what I will say about Matthews in terms of like, Borny, was there a crazy difference to me through a lot of this line? No, Knies was hurt. Marner once again had another game without a shot. Like, that's 3 games in this series, all 3 of which on the road where he has not registered a shot. But I thought Matthews was in the fight tonight in a way that he was absolutely not in the prior game. And frankly, in a way that I don't think that I've seen from him in this series in general. He was hard on pucks. He was going into corners. He was digging them out. And then ultimately he scores on what is a vintage Matthews goal, which is, like you said, the deceptive wrist shot. It's along the ice, just like the goal in Ottawa, right? He's the curling guy now. He doesn't score top corner. He scores along the ice. But I think that for a guy that has been obviously been carrying a big confidence issue and the noise is the loudest about, in terms of like at least his skill and what he had to lose from a perception point, because I think Marner's perception is like essentially sealed at this point, like outside of a cup. I think it was a massive night for Matthews. I got to give him all the credit in the world.
No,
it was gutsy.
I totally agree. It was his best. He saved his best game of the playoffs for their biggest game here.
Yeah.
And what can you say? In the face of criticism, in the face of that's what great players are supposed to do. And it's been lacking in this series. But when it comes down to it, this is, you're facing elimination and you go down into a road building in the defending champions. You score the game-winning goal. You have your best game of the playoffs. Full credit. Very impressed. Have to say, didn't expect it, but he really turned it up and I give him full credit. I'm really, really happy that we saw it tonight. And I did say in the show today that he would score. So I gave it out. I gave out the money for everybody for plus 180. So there you go.
Yeah, I'd say a couple times too, when the puck was at the point, he was parked in front of the net, waiting, looking for tips and rebounds, which he hadn't been there previously.
Yep. Again, it was out of 110 400 goal scorers.
Yeah.
He was the only one without a second round goal until tonight.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's an insane stat.
It's out of like all the stats that this team has had that are crazy stats because of all the playoff exits, that was at the top of the pile tonight.
I adore Sportsnet stats. I use them for my lineups all the time. Yeah. I'm always on there, but I don't know who like runs that account. They're not a huge Leafs guy. Not a huge Leafs guy. I tell you, they're finding the real dirt on the Leafs. They're digging it up.
First of all, the Leafs have created their own dirt.
It's true. Like, they're muddy. They're muddy.
This is the same thing that I get angry about when people are like, you're so hard on the team. I'm like, what do you want me to say? They've been to the second round twice in 9 seasons. And the 2 times that they've done it, there have been embarrassing losses. Like, I'm not sure exactly what story you're supposed to tell with this group. I'll give you a Sportsnet stat. That was a nice one. Max Pacioretty has 8 goals in 15 elimination games.
Yep.
Clutch stud.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah, the guys beneath the stars that they needed to be good were really good tonight. Like, I like Domi more than I've liked him in any playoff game this season. Really worked and tracked back and thought about defense. At one point, he had a chance to go on a rush. The Leafs had numbers, and he chipped it in behind the net, and then settled into F3. And I was like, oh, he's had a stern talking to.
Borny, at that very moment, I thought he was going to do a little flip back pass to, I think it was Pacioretty that was trailing him. There was nothing there, and I was like, oh God, don't do it. And he actually dumped in, and I was like, Berube has been hammering him over the head with this.
He would have made that pass in every game until Berube probably had him up against a locker after the last game and said never again. So he was good. Pacioretty goes to the net and gets another one. And McMahon, I thought, a little more ice time, a little more opportunity because of the Nyes thing. He found his feet a bit, makes a nice play on the winner, but I also thought he turned pucks over. So, but buddy, that's a pretty complete team effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
I gotta say, and the Max Pacioretty thing, if we can, I want to stick on this for a bit. I loved his reaction, boys. I loved his reaction. That was I just a really
Matthews' reaction.
Yeah, I don't know what to think of Matthews' reaction, but Patches in general, it's just like it's clearly a huge goal, but it just was such a real. Like, that is as hard as you can celebrate. Feels so good in that moment. After it was a close game, that one seals the deal. It's just, that was an awesome moment for Pacioretty, who's been so good for them in these playoffs. Like, you just have to give this guy full credit. Been clutch. And you said that was his 8th, right? I saw today that it was his 7th going into elimination games. Mm-hmm. And yeah, man, awesome play by Pacioretty. That's a hard play too, man. Like, on his backhand to get enough on that to across the body, chip it back towards into the net. Like, that's what it comes down to. Pacioretty's now a bit of a brute. He's a bit of a bruiser now, But like this guy scored so many goals in his prime. He was an elite goal scorer in the league. So when puck lands on his stick in the sweet spot, he can still dial it back, and he does there. I love this play. I loved it.
I tweeted this, but it was like, if the Leafs end up going on a run, like if they somehow pull this off, and I know some people get mad for even thinking about it, but if they did, he's already becoming one of the most memorable guys from this postseason, given what he has provided for them. How many years have this team been looking for a guy to do this? To just, not kill you defensively. Is he a perfect player? No. He gets bumped down the lineup tonight. There's no discussion about it, right? Max Pacioretty's a veteran. Nobody's like, there's no noise around it. He's just a vet. He's going to go out and play his role. He's there with Bobby McMahon. He gets an opportunity to finish, and he does it with just a goal scorer's goal with a nose for the net, which is what he has done with all of his goals so far this postseason. Like, they've all looked some form of the goal that he had tonight. It's been massive for them.
This Pacioretty postseason is going to lead to 100 bad contracts where teams are going to try to like buy low on the old guy who's been hurt at the end of his career, who used to be good. And they'll be like, you never know, we'll buy low. And they're going to get trash. The Leafs costs like absolute gold here. What's that?
He costs like $800K with some bonuses that he didn't hit because of the injury.
He did get the bonuses.
He hit his bonus.
Yeah, they gave him all the no way, because he wouldn't have hit.
Yes, he played in
he
like,
had like
37
a 36
games.
game bonus, and he hit 37 or something.
He did, eh? Good for him. Well, I'll just tell you this: I think that if you're a team and you're taking that kind of a low flyer on somebody with talent, it's like, who cares if 10 of them miss as long as the 11th one is this one, right? Like, how much stupid money gets spent in the NHL on bad deals? I'd rather have the 1 year guy who's done it before that might sit on the shelf, and if you break him out, does this. Like, this is a good one from Brad in the chat. Did Brad undo Dubas choosing Simmons over Corey Perry by signing Pacioretty? It's like, they've kind of missed on these guys. Everybody signs these vets to short-term deals, and the Giordano one was good, even though they traded a second-round pick to get him.
Was pretty good.
Yeah, but Sam and I don't acknowledge him on this show.
Yeah, we met in black sticked that one because of the Dubas affiliation. Unfortunately, that never happened.
Us thinking that he was loyal to the sweater and to the crest, and then immediately taking his ball and leaving with Dubas. You are Men in Black Stick from the show. He is the man whose name will not be spoken on Leafs Talk. But yeah, you're right. That one was a hit. But yeah, Corey Perry was forever just that miss of a guy where it was like, God, they could have had this dude.
Yeah.
He's been so good for them. Pacioretty is proving that role for this team. He was, God.
So, tonight is a night where the guys who don't stand out are why you win. Obviously, Matthews stands out, they win. But the D, and it's, Benoit, who absolutely destroyed Brad Marchand, and it's, Tanev, it's McCabe, it's good defense in their own end.
Yeah,
I'm glad you went there.
This is the story. I mean, outside, like you said, outside the big things, like all these guys were just selling out every shift. Like, how many more? I didn't look at the stats. I can look it up quickly. How many more damn shots did poor old Chris Tanev's body eat tonight? Like, good Lord. Like, at least 8 more hits tonight, at least 8 more shot blocks. Like, it must have been 3 in the last 2 minutes that he ate. Like, I love that play by Benoit. How about Marchand? Like, thinking you're just going to pull a head straight down toe drag into the middle of the slot with the least most physical defenseman standing there. Not his best move he's ever done, I don't think. But yeah, just all the defense. This was like the Berube porn game.
Check the chat. Check the last comment there. Leafs allowed 3 shots on net from the slot, Sam. Fewest by a team in any game this playoffs.
So that was the question that I wanted to ask you before we saw that was, what was your guys' most memorable moment for the Florida Panthers tonight? Like,
by the way, 6 block shots for Tanev tonight.
Chris Tanev after the series is going to be looking like Jay Leno when he fell down that hill. It's like he is taking a beating, man. It is just like, it is incredible what this guy's doing.
He's already dead.
Yeah, it's so much. But I would say that, again, the penalty kill was a part of this because they were doing exactly that, getting into lanes, packing the front. Everything Florida was doing felt like shots from the perimeter that were missing the net. They were shooting high. They're going off the glass. Toronto did a good job of hunting down those pucks and then making sure that they actually got out. There was only, I would say, in this entire game where Florida, like truly felt like they were fully in control was the beginning of the second period. There was a couple of shifts where it seemed like it was back-to-back Nylander line shifts where they were hemming him in and they were starting to move the puck around and got a couple of opportunities. Wall made some good saves late. He made some good saves in the second period. But in terms of this shutout, and I'm not trying to take anything away from him, so everybody chill out.
Yeah.
This is a defense save or shutout. This is a shutout that should go in the column of all of the defensemen tonight, more so than the goaltender, period.
You know, the plays I remember most are like Domi getting to a loose puck just before someone on their team in the slot. You know, the back check from Carlo, that's a penalty. That's not a penalty. You know, a lot of these plays where it felt like Florida might have something and guys made desperation plays to make sure they didn't. And 3 shots on net from the slot for, you know, what people believe to be the best team in the NHL, or at least one of the top few. That is a performance in a big game on the road, boy.
Can I tell you something again that pisses me off about this?
They can do it.
Okay. We saw game 5, right? And it's like this team.
I wish so badly I never did.
Yeah, I know. But it's just like this team truly is. It's the ultimate Jekyll and Hyde team this way. They have it in them. They did it against Ottawa. The same thing, that game 5, where they can just lay eggs that make you lose every piece of faith in anything that they've built. And then they put together a game like tonight. And Borny, I'm with you. Like, I didn't think that the Stars were overwhelmingly great. Like, the bar has gotten so low that Matthews does score the 1 goal and Marner gets an assist in a game where he has no assists. And we're going to be like, hell yes, top line. Hell yes. But the stuff that we have seen this season from them when they are at their best, like, this was the Toronto Maple Leafs blueprint.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this defensive structure as a team is what they're built around. And when you see a night like this, it confuses you and it goes, well, what are you supposed to do next year if you can do a game like this on the road against the Florida Panthers? And that I hate. That I hate that I will have to go to bed if this series ends up with Florida winning and have thoughts of performances like this as a team, right? Like, ugh. It's almost annoying to win. Like,
I really, really do not know how to feel. I wish.
Feel good.
I'm very happy that they won this game. Like, clearly, duh.
Yeah.
But I would be lying if I said that I had any expectation for Game 7 in terms of performance.
No,
like,
it's the Leafy thing. It's the Leafy thing is that they would go out and they would do this, and then Game 7 they lose in heartbreaking fashion in a way that everyone's at each other's throats and people are talking about bounces again. And we're heading into an off season full of question marks.
There's one critical play that happens that the game is now named after. Like, it's just like, you know, the Riley game or the, you know, or the Wall game. Like, there's a situation, but like, I mean, I guess they're eligible to win Sunday, boys. Like
eligible
that is
to win.
That is an outcome that is allowed. That the Leafs can go into that game on Sunday night now after their best performance defensively in my life, potentially. Like, I can't ever remember a team like that was as good as the Panthers were in Game 4 defensively. Leafs were right there, if not way better tonight than they were in that game. So if they can make it look like that on Sunday night, they have a fantastic chance to win.
Yeah.
Are they going to show up? Are they going to do the same thing they did in Game 5? Like, it's the most unpredictable Game 7 in hockey history to me. It really is. Pardon?
I'm already nervous.
I'm very nervous. I am cripplingly
I got to tell you, now I'm nervous, and I was not nervous in this game until they were up 1-0. Yeah, because I was watching this with a lot of dead inside feeling.
Correct.
I was just like, do whatever. You know,
you can't hurt me anymore.
Yeah, it was just, we talked about it, the pre-grieving. I'm like, do whatever. They started the game, and I thought that they were kind of flat for the first few minutes of the hockey game. And I thought, oh yeah, Sammy was right. Lay down in the street game where they do this. And even when Nyes got hurt on this reverse hit, which we should probably get into now, I thought, oh God, this is like all they needed was a crack to quit, right? And this might be it. This
in
might
his
be
ribs.
Yeah. So is that what we think happened here with him? Is that he eats it in the ribs and maybe he bruises one or cracks? Like,
What's interesting is like they pointed out in the broadcast, he grabs his right hip almost and he hits the contacts on his left hip. So lower back.
Well, okay. So if we can, I want to John Boy this.
Sorry, go ahead.
I want to, because you know how John Boy does the lip reading. If you run that back, Luke, he's saying, I can't move it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's not his rip. Like he says, I can't move it, which is like his leg because it's moved around weird in his hip. But yeah, if you see those lips there, he's saying, I can't move it. I can't move it. So something he couldn't move. And Bourne, you're right.
Like what a strange outcome, Bunk, that they took him off the top line, but he didn't exit the game and he still played and looked off, but I don't know. Like it's really tough to dial this in. I gotta say everything you're piecing together here is like hippie back stuff.
Well, yeah, hip. I think
what was the OG Anunoby injury he always had? Hip pointer?
Yeah. Well, I thought he had an abductor.
I thought it was a hip pointer. Somebody used to have a hip pointer in the Raptors, but a hip pointer.
Somebody used to have a hip pointer.
That was I thought it was the OG. I thought it was the OG injury. Never mind. But anyways, it's just I don't know what a hip pointer is, but it's a sports thing, and it looks like he got hit right in the hip point. So he was grabbing at it. He couldn't really move his leg, and it feels like the leg bone's connected to the hip point. So I'm going to go with hip pointer. That's my doctor.
Knies out for Robertson. Is that a size flip?
Oh my God. Dr. McKee, yes.
I was going to say, I actually hate so much Twitter doctors, like when they start doing this is my diagnosis, because I have a buddy who's a doctor who will do that sometimes where he'll just be like, hey, this is the injury. And then it's like, yeah, it never turned out to be that way. He's actually gotten better now with this. But back in the day when he first started med school, everything that would happen in a game, he would automatically just be like, he's out for 4 to 6 weeks. This is what this was. And then 2 seconds later, the guy would be back on the field. You know, the running back's just like juking somebody out, touchdown. You're like, oh yeah, 4 to 6 weeks. Like he's doing that. What we just did might have been the worst segment in history. It's like, I don't know what a hip pointer is, but
I disagree.
He might have a hip pointer.
That was great.
So Craig Berube says he isn't sure if Matthew Knies will be healthy enough to play Game 7 from CJ.
Well, here's what I do think is right. What Bourne said about you having the adrenaline and at least you're already moving around.
Yeah.
To stay out on the ice, to now go get on an airplane back to Toronto and have to sit there for the couple of hours and then get off and then come back. That to me feels less sure. And
they're deep on left wing. It's fine.
He's their only left wing.
Holmberg's their second line left winger. They're fine.
Honestly, it's like all the Robertson. This might be the Robertson Super Bowl for the
Robertson game.
Oh my God.
That's the game it's going to be.
The scratch and score Game 7.
Robertson Game
Panthers.
7 goal.
Gets the scratch, but then also potentially gets an opportunity up in the top 6 because you can't play Pacioretty for 20 minutes.
No.
And McMahon, I'll be honest, like good
They'll
for
put
McMahon.
Camp in before him. Come on.
Yeah, they will.
McMahon makes a nice pass on the goal, obviously, beautiful saucer pass, but I thought for most of that game, I was like, you were supposed to be the X factor and you are just you're ghost factor. Like you don't exist. You don't make plays. You bobble pucks. I think the ice was bad tonight. There was a lot of it, but McMahon
he sure made it look like it.
Yeah, he really did. And it was like,
but I thought he got in on the forecheck a couple times when he was playing with Pacioretty. Like he was using his size. He was trying to get on the forecheck a little bit, but just not a lot's happening with him. But I got to give him credit for the pass. Really nice saucer onto the backhand of Pacioretty who puts it home. So nice for him to contribute a point. Like, is that his first? Like, how many points does he have?
2 points in playoffs, 2 assists.
Yeah.
2 assists.
So, I mean, that's pretty big for him to be able to see that one. Maybe like you just keep waiting for him to have a puck that just like, remember in the regular season when like a guy would bobble a puck and those long strides and he's just gone and he just rips it top corner. It just doesn't happen a whole lot. It's a great pass, feathery, right into the stride so he can put it home. But yeah, you're just, at this point, you're just hoping for anything from him, and you got to live.
Nice to see Bennett and Forsling and all those guys on for that goal turning away.
Yeah,
yep,
that
absolutely.
was nice. My other McMahon theory, like it's twofold, is when we were doing so many Leafs talk, Sammy, what would I always say? That he had like a Wes Welker quality where he was really good at finding the soft spot in the zone and sitting down and getting to a spot where he could make himself available for a goal. And then again, playoff hockey, you're playing teams who are making it hard on you to get to those spots. It's not regular season against, Minnesota tonight.
Yeah.
It's a real
Minnesota's
game.
pretty good.
I know. Just
go
trying
Flyers.
to pick a team.
Go Flyers.
We always use Flyers and Red Wings. That's the two teams we say every single time. So I was just trying to jumble it up. All right. And I think that it's just harder for him to get to those spots. And he's not the kind of guy that will not be denied getting to those spots. Yep. So that's sort of what we've seen. Because, I don't know how many breakaway goals you're going to get unless you're William Nylander. I like this in the chat. Tactical Robertson scratch to ensure a goal for Game 7.
It was logical.
Yeah,
You had
it
to
did
do
make
it.
sense. Panthers, you have to win this game at least 2-1 because
Marner making like a good defensive play on Barkov.
Yeah.
They're like, look at this great defensive play he made. I'm like, it was a great defensive play, but that should not be the highlight of a power play, Pat, that they show after. So maybe it comes through. They get one in Game 7 and they get a big power play goal, but like, it's just, I love Tavares tonight too. Like I thought he was really skating hard, driving the puck to the net, like you said, but when it looks so good and they're on top of the net, when on the power play, it's not there right now for them. It's just the puck is not, they're not getting the puck luck at all. Plus they're not sharp and decisive. As good as it looked at times, it looks just as bad the other way now. But
that's it though, to the Tavares point on the power play. The only moment that I actually liked for the power play tonight was a play where it was like they threw it on net and there were just three bodies in front chopping away at it. And Tavares was one of them.
Yeah.
And it feels stupid to say for a power play that costs $1 billion in talent, that's the formula for them. But I kind of feel like Matthews getting a wrister to go into the net. It's the same thing with the power play where it's like, they just need to chop one in. They just need exactly this. That's why even though Nyes was hurt, I don't think he got a shift until that first power play from that. He comes out in the second. He tries to give it a go. He can't move. We're all texting furiously.
he had a short shift where he like labored off the ice badly after it. Like he fell too. Like he got tied up with two guys, fell to the ice, and then went off pretty quickly after that.
Yeah. So then he got the power play, and it was like one chance for them. And then as soon as it was an exit, you saw Nyes where it was like he was trying to skate up the ice, and it was bad. But they had one chance in front of the net trying to chop it. And I'm glad that they kind of threw him out there for just exactly that. Hey, can you give me a chop in front of the net? One chop in front of the net. Can you eat up a body? Can you absorb a body? And I bet you that monster on the bench said, yes, I can.
almost the equivalent of getting your hand in the face of a shooter in basketball.
But
like you're not going to get the block. But like
this
is annoying.
There's no pull. There's no like grab. There's no nothing. He's got his stick extended. Like it's a 1-0 game in the third period of Game 6 of the second round. It's like usually you get away with murder in this moment. And for him to call that, it was crazy to me.
To play devil's advocate on this, if you got one hand on the stick and you're putting the stick into the midsection of the other team's best player on an odd man rush, like you're gonna get called. I don't know. I can't really cry about that one. For me,
I thought it was a horrible call. I do. I'll cry. For
I know. You cry every show, so it makes sense.
Barkov probably clamps down.
Anyway, soft call.
Yeah, it's a little bit. Like,
at that point of the game, first period, sure, all day. But at that point of the game, it's like you don't need that. You don't need that.
But anyways, I wanted to just close quickly on your Tavares point. The thought that I had about him all game long tonight was I don't think this guy plays golf.
You think he just works on his stride or something?
No, I think that he is. Like never
plays golf.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's the joke is though, it's like he does not care. He does not want to see the links. He wants to play hockey. If there was one guy tonight where I went, he is dying for this, it was him. Every play from him, every shift from him, I thought was hard.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
He's playing for his next Leafs contract, baby.
Yeah.
I don't think he has to play too hard for it. Like, well, he does, but I think he's getting it pretty much no matter what. Don't you?
Do too.
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think there's a scenario where he leaves.
I think he's going to be one of those reinvent himself as like a really solid, grindy finish. You know, Corey Perry minus the worm factor, old guy.
To me, it's just like I know people want blood, and there's definitely lust for massive changes if they lose this thing. But if you just look at the landscape for what they can do down the middle, and what he's going to cost versus. Like he's obviously going to take less than what he can get out on the open market. And I think that Marner is as good as gone, barring a Stanley Cup. Like
even with it, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the kind of the perfect scenario, quite frankly.
Here you go.
Anyways, that's a different story for a different day. We can talk. We have lots of time to talk about that next week. Lots of time to talk about that next week, boys.
Oh, the boys are hiding their feelings over. Is it perfect scenario? Is the way that got outlined. Is that the guy that wins the cup is gone at the end of the season? I think, I just want to give a nod again. Woll didn't have to do too much tonight, but when he was called upon, he was rock solid. And for the few moments where Florida was in tight and he had to make saves, he deserves a lot of credit for the way that he played. Again. We have player of the game, Joe Woll, at 53% from the fans. I vehemently disagree. I
tough
think that
one for Matthews. That's a tough bounce for Matthews.
What, that he doesn't get player of the game?
Yeah.
I honestly, for me, player of the game is Chris Tanev.
Yeah. Chris Tanev got 5% of the vote. Woll just looked solid. Pucks hit him. They didn't bounce off. He looked quiet. But like Mike Kelly told us on Twitter, was there 3 shots from the slot? Like it was the same shutout that Bobrovsky had in game 4. Just barely any chances, didn't have to do a whole lot, made a couple good saves when called upon, really good in the last 2 minutes, and you get the win, you get the shutout, you get to feel good about yourself. So
all I can think about right now is you guys are talking about this is like, you know, win one game, right? And it's a whole new world. And it's like, will you allow yourself to go there? Will you allow yourself to believe? I'm talking to people watching, not you here. Will you let yourself get there?
I have already
the what ifs on this one.
Believe. Yeah, of course.
Really?
No way. Duh.
I will not go there.
But
no way.
Again, I'm an old man now. You know, like I've watched this team be garbage for I shouldn't say the vast majority of my life because they had good teams when I was in high school for a while, in junior high, and so it was like, but it's been a lot of bad. And as much as I will crush these guys into tiny little pieces if they come up short in this game. And I think that they deserve the criticism. Like as much as you're in this series, to me, it's like you did play games 4 and you did play games 5 and they all count the same. And like, this could have been a closeout game for you. This should have been a closeout game for you. Realistically, if you go up 3-1, you get a split, or you can just go up 3-2 and grab a home win in front of your home fans. The fact that you have to torture people with this, like this will they, won't they, right? They're the Ross and Rachel of, are they gonna do it? Are they gonna show up? Will they care to put in an effort tonight. What are we getting from them? Is so frustrating. But I've seen this version of them, so how could I not at least allow myself to believe? I don't think that's like cursy or jinxy. It's obviously on your mind.
I will be so happy if they win on Sunday night. I will be beyond my wildest dreams, but I won't. I can't believe. I can't believe.
This is what this team has done to people.
I can't believe, man.
Winning a second round playoff matchup is like, it would be beyond my wildest dreams.
So your dreams suck.
Yeah, I know. Sam's never dreamt of anything exciting. beyond my wildest dreams. Second round.
Beating the Florida Panthers after being down 3-2 is pretty good. And it would be very, very fun to go to a conference finals against a Carolina Hurricanes team that is a completely different team. Feels like not a better matchup, easier matchup, different type of matchup. I want it so bad. Like I can't explain how badly I want it, but I can't. When the final buzzer goes off, I'll be crushing darts and drinking beers. Be so
Here's
excited.
the bad part about psychology. You may say out loud, you don't. It's already in there. You can't change it.
I actually am not there, man. I truly am not. I truly am not.
Today on Liars Who Lie, it's just one of us. Like,
whatever, man. Like I think I'm pretty forthcoming on this show, fellas.
Yeah, you are.
I've always been pretty
yourself.
I'm pretty forthcoming on this show.
I think the lady doth protest too much. Is all I'm saying.
Well, you're both after me. Like, what do you want from me? You're both making fun of me. I'm cornered here.
It's one game. It's
great.
It's one game. You just need a bounce.
Great.
Like
game 5 was one game too.
Yeah, it was, and they did the awful thing. And again, I don't. This is the problem in terms of if they're even to win, is that I really do think that game 5 thing they have is just built into their DNA, and that it's just, you're only getting, to me, because of that game 5. And I said this on my show, the only case for running this thing back is a cup win. There's nothing else. Like there's no, hey, you made it to the cup finals. Hey, you beat the Florida Panthers. That game 5 in some way, to me, robbed what would be the accomplishment of winning this series just a touch. Like, yes, would I be excited? Yes, would I be thrilled? Will I go and celebrate it and have drinks on a Sunday before I have to do a holiday Monday show? You bet your ass. You bet your ass. I'm going to soak it in. I'm going to enjoy it. But when you see those little things crop up like that game 5, it's impossible to just put that part out of your head for me. It's like...
Shout out to the people after game 5 at the end of that misery who chanted Leafs in 7, because you have to be just insanely in love with the team to believe at that point. Shout out to my friends Ian and Sam Cass who went and bought jerseys for their kids the next day. They were in the building for game 5 and went and bought jerseys for their kids the next day. You know, there's people out there, guys, who just deserve this.
My bike ride home from work today, I saw at least 20 Leafs jerseys. People wearing Leafs hats, carrying beers, ready to rock. The sun was out. It's like game 5 never happened. I'm like, oh God, what a world. I was wearing my Leafs cutoff to ride my bike. So like, I'm not exactly innocent in this, but I just, anyways, I got nothing. I feel like I'm going in circles here, but I can't let myself go there yet.
This is actually, again, when I was younger, I used to care about the players in a certain way, right? Like, you know, Felix Potvin, Curtis Joseph, and Ed Belfour, and Matt Sundin, and Darcy Tucker, like those were heroes of mine. Now it's not the same relationship with the team. What I care about is the people that you're talking about. The ones that time after time after time keep showing up with the faith that things are going to be different and the optimism that it could, and that pay that stupid amount of money. I mean, Bourne's friends are clearly the richest people on planet Earth because they were at that game and then they were like, let's just buy jerseys. I was like, yeah, okay. Bourne hangs with a different class of people than Sam and I do, who would never be doing such a thing. They're just like, yeah, we have tons of disposable income. Like, oh, what's another
ongoing poll? 71% of YouTube chat believes Leafs will win game 7. Holy smokes.
Yeah,
holy
but that's
smokes.
Again.
How would you click no? How could you possibly? You're watching Leafs talk. You're this deep in all this. How could you be someone who clicks no?
Yeah,
I don't believe.
No, Listen, it's like, they got to do it.
Right.
They got to do it.
We're all fools. That is correct. He would. That is correct.
But this is the ride. Like, You know, it's the, what is it? It's not the destination, it's the journey.
Yeah.
It's like, this
Can we
is
get
all
to
part
a
of it.
destination one time?
Yeah, getting to a destination would be very nice.
It's destination unknown right now.
Yeah,
boys.
again, Sam's beyond his wildest
unknown.
dreams. Destination is round 3, which
I mean, I've seen it once in my life,
I
so
know. And it was also against Carolina, and we also thought we were going to beat their brains in.
Yeah.
So
Arthur Zerbe ain't walking through that door, boys.
Jeff O'Neill,
Freddie Anderson series.
Oh my God, Bunkus's dream where he gets to be right.
No, it's no. Yeah, it's a win-win.
Bunkus would cheer for Carolina, so he gets to be right about Freddie.
No, I was gonna say that it is a win-win for me because if the Leafs do go out in flames, I can be like, definitively, I was right about Freddie Anderson, and if they lose, I get to watch my favorite team go to a Stanley Cup.
Dude,
So
you're in such a good spot. Wow.
Yeah.
Big stakes for you, Game 7 on
personal
Sunday.
stakes.
yeah, personal stakes are monumental. All right. By the way, thanks to all the God, after that Leafs loss, like. I'm not joking. I spent about an hour and a half going through DMs on Instagram, just replying to like literally hundreds of people who were so pissed off and who were having a crisis. And I'm very curious to see what the DMs are going to be like tonight after that win, because boy, probably
got some mean ones. You idiots never believe you're a hack.
Honestly, if you're that kind of person where it's like you didn't believe, it's like, yeah, that's the automatic number one easiest thing to dismiss, where it's like, I don't think you understand sports at all.
Yeah.
Like if you're just purely only like, they're going to do it, it's positive. It's just like, you're not understanding what this is all about in the slightest. So good for you, but nah. All right. Subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at JDBuckus, at JTBorn, at Sammy McKee. We'll see you in the mud, and we'll see you for Game 7.
Oh, boy.
Hi, Arash Madani here. At Honda, they built the CR-V Sport just like you'd build a team for the playoffs. Reliable performance? It's a Honda. Versatility? You've got all-wheel drive. High IQ plays? That's Honda sensing technology. Resilience and grit? You bet. After all, it's Canadian. Make your playoff drive count. Bring home the Ontario-built CR-V Sport. Lease today with rates from 0.99% for 24 months. OAC conditions apply. Made with domestic and imported parts. See HondaOntario.com.
Guess who just bundled their home and auto with Desjardins Insurance?
Well, look at you, all grown up and saving money.
Yes, I am.
Mom told you to do it, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Get insurance that's really big on care. Switch and you could save up to 35% on home insurance when you bundle home and auto. Desjardins Insurance. Here for your home, auto, life, and business needs. Certain conditions apply.
When you get a Subaru with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and class-leading safety included, it's like you also get a Subaru that comes with your very own golf club holder, stadium parking navigator, a basketball team transporter, a remote cottage finder, a beaver spotter, a coach hauler, bear country guide, a family road trip carrier, a muddy road controller, extreme wind stabilizer, plus a... And we're out of time. Subaru is the multi-tool that masters every unpredictable weather condition. Visit your local Subaru dealer for great lease and fun.
You've been listening to NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM. Head over to SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, for the best hockey talk.
Breaks their confidence, and maybe they need a